rub.
Hey folks, you know that old expression, oh look, it's a diamond in the rough. Well, let me tell you about a diamond in the rough that's hiding in plain sight, and most of you have seen it. I am talking about Sensus Fidelium. No, not the Sensus Fidelium U-Boob channel that many of you know and love. I'm talking about Sensus Fidelium Press. What's that? You didn't know they had a press?
And Sensus Fidelium Press has been quietly putting back into print some of Catholicism's most ancient, treasured, and hard-to-find works, like The Devil's Bagpipe, The True Life of Martin Luther.
And they also offer originals from up-and-coming authors, like Sensus Fidelium founder Steve Cunningham's Ideal of a Nation, and my buddy Jeb Smith's Missing Monarchy.
Check the entire selection of books and pamphlets out today at sensusfideliumpress.com. Tell us the coupon code SF40 at checkout for 40% off your order. That's sensusfideliumpress.com. Coupon code SF40 at checkout, and tell them the King Dude, Mike Church, sent you.
Learn all about today's Saint of the Day at the Saint of the Day podcast at crusadechannel.com. Now a look at more lifestyle headlines. The FAA announced last Thursday it would implement a scheduling reduction at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport after the airlines that serve the airport plan to scale up flights despite significant levels of cancellations and delays. O'Hare, as you might know, is the busiest airport in the U.S. based on flight volume and had over 3,080 flights planned on peak days for the summer of 2026, an increase of 14.9% from peak days last summer, when just 60% of arrivals and departures were on time. The FAA's scheduling reduction will limit O'Hare's daily operations by about 300 flights daily from May 17th to October 24th of 26. If you book a ticket, we want you and your family to have the certainty that you'll fly without endless delays and cancellations, said Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, who added the FAA will follow a similar template to what it used at another one of the nation's busiest airports as it seeks to streamline O'Hare's operations. So good news if you have a layover in Chicago. Stargazers could potentially glimpse the aurora borealis in parts of the northern United States this Friday and Saturday, and that's because of a large hole that's opened up in the sun's atmosphere. The aurora may become visible over some northern and upper Midwest states from New York to Idaho, wrote the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Space Weather Prediction Center in a Facebook post. They explained that the wonderful display can be traced back to a large hole that appeared in the sun's corona, the outermost layer of its atmosphere. And you can learn more at spaceweather.com. I'm Janet Huxley for the Mike Church Show and the Red, White, and Dude Nation, because ethics in broadcasting matters.
In a world more and more infiltrated with fake news, AI-generated slop, isn't it great knowing that Crusade Channel News is still researched, written, and performed by actual humans? Hey, what are you doing in here? Oh no. Get your hands off of me. You chipped my chip.
Boys, break it up. Jeez. Catch Crusade Channel News weekday mornings on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be.
No AI was harmed in the making of this radio content, but we hope to next time.
it's another one of those what shall we talk about days here today. What an awful, horrible, revolting news cycle we had today, folks. Well, we'll ask the question of the day anyways.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Well, I'll tell you, nothing.
To ensure the security and continuing stability.
Nothing, honey.
The Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire. For a safe and secure society.
So I'm calling on Congress to pass these reforms, and I'm going to sign them into law.
No, you're not.
Down the thunder, well, now you got it.
You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Alrighty, our call-in line telephone number if you'd like to be on the program today, 844-527-8723, 844-5-CRUSADE. Crusader Stadium, Mike Church Show Stadium chat room open for your commentary at crusadechannel.com/chat. What was the heavy sigh for?
I hate technology. I hate it.
And now you're back
Give me a freaking
in the chair again. Yeah, my petition to return to all AM and FM radio stations and leave the internet and the interwebs and all social media behind apparently was rejected by God. I made the petition and God looked at it and went, how about no? And so here we are. One thing I can report on for you today. If you're an X.com user, and it seems like everyone is these days, if you're an X.com user, if you stray from the beaten path of all news consumed all the time, and I don't even know what stupid video it was that I watched, but apparently yesterday, I must have clicked on, or I must have stayed, or left my cursor over some whimsical, imbecilic, ridiculous, stupid video. Because when we came in this morning and I'm scrolling through my X feed, I'm like, what are all these stupid gag videos? I had no news. None. I had no breaking. None on my home X.com feed. And that's unfortunate for you, dear listener, because when we go through the morning's news, because, you know, we're always up to date and usually a couple of days ahead of the curve, one of the regular sources that we rely upon to go and retrieve said news is X. So I had no idea that they have been monkeying with this algorithm, whatever system it is that they use, to the degree where it's like changing in real time. That's scary. That's scary, freaky, weirdo crap there. And I didn't realize it until we sat down this morning, and I'm looking at the feed. I'm going like, why do I have these videos of stupid people? It's almost like I stumbled. You know what it was like? It's like my X.com news feed turned in to Chive TV. I had all Bill Murray all the time. Because, you know, Chive started with what was the Don't Worry and Chive On, the Bill Murray meme, the T-shirt that was so famous back in the day. And everyone seemed to have a, was it Chill Out or Don't Worry? I'm trying to remember what the, I know it had Bill Murray. You have one.
I thought it was Stay Calm and Chive
stay calm and chive on. So I got the stay calm and chive on feed today. So we're just going to go through the news headlines. Apparently, is the Iran war now over? Has President Trump now lost interest in saving all of humanity from a shower of nuclear weapons raining down upon all of our heads that were launched in Tehran? Apparently it has, because yesterday, maybe I misunderstood. Yesterday, it was being reported, or he was saying, or he said to someone that the ceasefire is like indefinite now. We're just going to keep it, but no one gets out of the Straits of Hormuz until they make a deal, until they sit down and, like the Bonwit Teller building, and I don't like Riley Gaines, make a deal. Apparently also yesterday, this is kind of a quirky little tidbit of news. If you go to Truth Social and you look him up, you will find a transcript of a Michael Savage monologue. Yes, Dr. Savage. And he posted the entirety of the transcript. It's all about birthright citizenship. 13 hours ago. So welcome to the Savage Nation. You read the whole thing. And this also kind of reads like a transcript from the Mike Church show. Savage and I are pretty much on the same page when it comes to birthright citizenship and the stupidity of it. I mean, no country in history that ever became an empire of any sort or a force to be reckoned with of any sort had a birthright citizenship law. They just didn't. Look, if you start defining a country, and what is a country at the end of the day, or what is a state? Well, a state at the end of the day is, I've done this exercise before, is the people. When you say that you live in the state of Louisiana, for example, okay, what makes Louisiana different from Texas? What makes Louisiana different from Mississippi? Well, people, customs, traditions, the things that you get known for. Here, everyone knows Louisiana for the city of New Orleans. And it doesn't really matter where you go in the world. It's pretty much true. Well, what made the city of New Orleans so famous? Well, number one, it was a French colony, a French Catholic colony. Then it was a Spanish Catholic colony. Then it went back to being a French-Spanish colony, a French Catholic colony. And then it started, sort of over time, it became Americanized. But it never lost its charming appeal that it got from its French and Spanish Catholic founders and generations. Well, what if you immigrated a generation or two of Pakistanis into New Orleans, for example, and the people that actually are historically and traditionally and for generations put their roots down and lived here? What if they just decided, it's going to screw that? There's nothing to be a citizen of Louisiana or New Orleans anymore. I'm out. Shigong! And they decided to leave, and they just moved somewhere else. Well, if you did that for a generation or two, well, then would New Orleans still be known as the hospitality city and for its rich culture and its charm and all the things that it's known for? Well, obviously not, because it would become Pakistani over time. And I'm just using the Pakis as an example. So what would then define a country? And I think at the end of the day, the definition is the citizens and what the citizens do and what the citizens stand for. Well, you can't have a citizen tradition over time unless you have the same the same people that are basically reproducing and making the next generations here. So a birthright citizenship argument where anyone can come in and just claim, okay, man, I crossed your border, I'm here, I popped a kid out, he's yours. is just the most fatuous, stupid, ridiculous argument in all of human affairs. Why? I think you sound stupid making the argument. So you're saying we don't want a country anymore? What shall we call ourselves? Immigrationistan? What would you stand for? Well, it depends on what the new wave of people brought here. So the argument for it, I don't even know what the argument is. Do you? We hate ourselves? In any event, we will talk about it as I said at the end of the program yesterday, I didn't want to do anything politics today because things have gone so bat poop crazy that maybe we'd just pick a day and we would just talk about stuff. We'll talk about movies and movie lines. By the way, tomorrow, in the second hour of the program, 7:30, and you can mark this on your calendars now, movie reviews are back. No, Debbie Schlussel's not back.
Thank goodness.
Well, she's lost her mind. She's a secular Zionist wacko. I'm just going to start doing them, and I've watched enough movies that we can give you some guidance on whether or not you should go see it at the theater or rent it on video or whatever the case may be. But we'll start doing them again tomorrow, and we already have 3 for tomorrow. So you're going to have to tune into the second half hour of the program to find out what the 3 films are that we're going to review. And hopefully we'll do a good job at it. I was explaining to my French tutor yesterday. She was like, how are you going to rate them? Are you going to use stars? I said, no, we're going to use Reagans. And she said, what's a Reagan? And then I had to explain what a Reagan was. And I was trying to explain it to her in French, which was a challenge. So usually when I'm failing doing it, even though I have 2.5 years now of daily, like it's not immersion, but daily lessons, I'll just, because we're on video chat, I'll just go time out, parle l'anglais, speak in English now, and she speaks pretty good English, and so I had to explain it to her. But it was quite the experience to try and communicate that in French. And then I said, and I said, if it's really good, it gets 4 Reagans. If it's terrible, you get 1. I said, but if it's really stellar, dégoûtant in French, disgusting. I said, then I'll get un Reagan, un Macron's esposa. So 1 Reagan, 1 Emmanuel Macron, and his wife. So I don't know if that's what we'll do. I think it'll probably go 1 Reagan. Because remember, Debbie Schlussel used to do 1 Michelle, LaVaughn, Robinson, Hussein, Obama. The Betty Friedan. I'll figure it out, Twix, now and then. They banned guns or assault weapons in public yesterday in Virginia. So some of the headlines are just a bit misleading about it, but they did do it. And this was in the Virginia Assembly. So if it makes it through the Virginia Senate, and they sign off on the bill, or they vote on it, and then Abigail Stollenberger signs it. My source at the Department of Justice is saying that they will immediately file an injunction against it. So there is a war going on in the Old Dominion. We saw this yesterday. There was a immediate injunction that was filed by the GOP in Virginia, and they got it to the right judge for the redistricting that was voted on that won. By the by, it only passed because of mail-in balloting. In other words, they cheated. And now they want to enshrine the cheating forever into law. So a state judge, actually in Virginia, he said a permanent kibosh on it and stopped it from going into law, which of course then triggered, well, we're going to appeal this, and then it'll go to a higher court. I don't know how this makes it to the federal level or to a federal court, but I'm sure they can find a way because they always do. I think that what you ought to think about in terms of what they did in Virginia, what they're trying to do in California, these are acts against democracy. In other words, the Democrat Party has figured out, and this is existential for them now, they have figured out that the only way that they're going to survive is by rigging the voting systems in the states that they have control over and and rigging it so that they are permanently in power in those states, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, does that sound like a democracy? Or even, hell, even a representative republic to you? Because it doesn't sound like one to me. I wonder. You know, I was on the Joe McClain show on I'm trying to think of it was on a station in Boston, but he's on the network. Father McTeague is on the network. So I was on with Joe yesterday. And Joe asked me something about Trump and about what's going on with the war and what have you. And my follow-up to that was, what else is happening is there is a fatigue for all things democratic. And that many people are either just like, we talked about this the other day, we talked about it with Mike Parrott yesterday. Many people are either A, just checking out. It's 10:60 a.m. WOCM? No, QOM, WQOM in Boston. That many people are just like checking out. And because they don't think it matters what they do. Not that that's a new thing, because voting, hoping, and coping has been a thing for a while. But I think that it's accelerating now. And what President Trump has done has accelerated it even more, because so many people invested so much in MAGA, thinking that, oh, finally, we're going to get something done. And to be fair, again, he did get some things done, but you're not going to dismantle that monstrous state. You know, I think we were right back in 2008, 2010, 2012, 2014, all the years up until Trump's first candidacy. I think that we were correct that to secede is truly the way, is the movement and the way of the future. And I don't know that that secession would be limited to just leaving the federal union. You know, if you read, and I'm not telling you that you should, but because I read most of it, if you read Savage's monologue that Trump reposted, he doesn't come out and say it, but he implies, and I think that the spirit of what Dr. Savage was talking about yesterday, basically implies, or the conclusion is that there is very little chance of the Union surviving if the SCOTUS nukes or gets it wrong. That if Trump is reading the SCOTUS tea leaves correctly, and John Roberts is leading a 5-4 decision, because that's what it would be, a 5-4 decision in favor of birthright citizenship, I would ask at that point, what the hell is the point? Would the state of Louisiana then say, okay, well, we're just going to have a convention then, because we're not going to have that here. We're not turning New Orleans into Azerbaijan. We're not turning New Orleans into Tijuana, Mexico. We're not turning Acadia anyway. Because if they say the birthright citizenship is for the Union, that means every state in the Union. So what is and if you don't want that, what is your solution? Well, you'd have to leave. You'd have to check it out. Hey, nice knowing you guys. Hey, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, you guys want to talk about forming, a new sort of I don't know, union?
You want your talk radio shaken.
You expect me to talk?
Not stirred.
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Truth never dies on the Veritas Radio Network's Crusade.
With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Call us to get your Care Watch right now.
800-681-8020. 800-681-8020. 800-681-8020. That's 800-681-8020.
Hi, folks. It's Mike Church, founder of Founding Father Films, asking you to learn the true stories of America's founding by purchasing my movie, The Spirit of 76. The Spirit of 76 details the true story of the writing and ratifying of the U.S. Constitution.
He is to be supported in extravagant magnificence, so that the whole of our property may be taken by this American government by laying what taxes they please, giving themselves what salaries they please, and suspending our laws at their pleasure.
This animated movie comes complete with collector's booklets, DTS surround sound, and is packed with hours of bonus features. Learn the true stories of America's founding and order Mike Church's The Spirit of 76 on a 2-DVD or 3-CD set. Available now at mikechurch.com/DVD and by calling 844-527-8723.
I need something to listen to challenge my faith and tickle my not-so-nice funny bone.
Well, you won't hear anything about Mondays coming or cheeseburgers in paradise, but you will hear the most brutally honest Catholic-inspired commentary on Parrot Talk. Weekdays.
Oh, this boats, beaches, bars, and ballads fan sees what you did there.
Weekdays at 2 Central on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on CrusadeChannel.com. Live talking podcast radio.
The way it should be.
Hey, it's the KingDude with another free lesson in Stuff You Really Don't Need to Know. Harvest was Great Britain's name for the season that follows summer, until autumn began to displace it at the end of the 16th century. But English immigrants to America preferred fall to autumn. And did you know that fall is caused by the sun setting below the equator in the northern hemisphere sky, also known as the equinox, which continues south to the winter solstice. Here's another seasonal fact for you. The flag of the Sacred Heart of Jesus is also known as the Carillon de Sacré-Cœur, or the original flag of Quebec. And did you know that our founders Trading Post is the exclusive maker and distributor of this one-of-a-kind, full-size, beautiful flag? Order a Sacred Heart flag right now and take $5 off, and I'll throw in a matching Sacred Heart flag bumper sticker for free. You know, don't cost nothing. Hurry, fall is here, and flag flying season in the north is limited. To order, go to mikechurch.com/flag or call us at 844-527-8723. The Carillon de Sacré-Cœur flag will beautify any indoor or outdoor space it flies in, but supplies are limited. So order today at mikechurch.com/flag or call us 844-527-8723.
The Crusade Channel knows what the remedy for the fall is. But we also know that we're not the remedy. We just promote and defend it.
Oh, really?
And because we have no O'Reillys and Lowers leering luridly on our airwaves, you can listen with your fair maidens.
Really?
Really?
The Crusade Channel. Remedy-sized truth from radio-sized speakers.
Well, this bumper music's got Maggie O'Connell dancing in here. Biden, Biden. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at mypillow.com/KingDude. You can't go wrong with a pair of my slippers, and you can't go wrong with a set of my pillows at mypillow.com/KingDude for the best night's sleep in the whole wide world. Visit mypillow.com/KingDude. You also can't go wrong with my pillowcases and sheets and mattress toppers and even little beds and stuff for your pets. That they have all that there. And then there's the My Towels, of course. There's so much. You know, I could do a half an hour infomercial and not run out of My Pillow stuff to talk about. So check them out today, especially if you're in the mood for a better night's sleep. Go to mypillow.com/KingDude. And, you know, your pillow is sized. It's sized by basically your t-shirt size. So each pillow is then custom fit just for you. So visit them today at mypillow.com/KingDude. That will tell them that I sent you, and you'll be supporting the Mike Church Show and the Crusade Radio Guild. Let's do Stale Headlines of the Week. Since there's nothing else happening today, have you ever seen a news day that was this dead? Nope. I mean, we had one about a month ago where I was like, did everyone just like check out yesterday? Because it's almost like, okay, hey, we're just taking the week off. Yeah, we'll be back next week. You guys just talk amongst yourselves. Here's one. USDA disqualifies 1,562 retailers, prevents $835 million. How much is that? $835 million in fraudulent SNAP transactions. Now, I saw a story somewhere today, was it at the Federalist? It is estimated now that there is a $1.5 trillion in fraud going through the federal monstrosity every year. Can anybody quantify what a trillion is? I know we've all done the exercise with the stacks of $100 bills and filling football stadiums up with stacks of $100 bills. And if it was $1 bills, and it would reach, and you stacked them, it would go all the way to the moon and back. But I really think that just the understanding or the comprehension, it's not understanding, it's a comprehension, comprend, of what a trillion is. You know, it's a number that didn't exist. I think prior to like 1978 or something. There's a number that didn't even exist. You wouldn't be numbering anything in the trillions. You might have gone billions and billions and billions. But, okay, a million is a thousand thousands, right? No, $1 million is, so 100,000 is 100,000. So, oh, that's right, I had it right, is 1,000,000. So how many people have $1,000 in their pocket right now? Imagine that you have $1,000. Take it out. It would be lay your 10 $100 bills on the table and stack that. Okay, so that's 1,000. Do that times 100, and now you have 100,000. Do that times 1,000, and now you got $1 million. Most people don't have $1,000 these days. Most people are broke. Most people are El Broco these days. But just for poops and giggles. So we can all conceive of then how to get to 1,000 or to 1,000 and then to $1 million. Okay, how do you get to $1 billion? Well, do the exercise we just did to get to $1 million. Do that 1,000 times. Now you have a billion. Billions and billions and billions. Okay, so take your billions and billions and billions now and do the billion times 1,000. Now, I don't think anyone can comprehend what a billion is. Do the billion times 1,000, and now you have $1 trillion. It's a sum that, let's be honest, it's a sum of fake money because it's all debt. There's no gold. There's no real value. You know, here's the thing to ponder: $500 billion in fraud committed every year. How does the system keep going? You went to work today. Because you went to work today and agreed to be payroll tax, or you're going to pay quarterly or at the end of the year, however it is, that's how the system continues. You know, I used to ask this question back in the old station in the old country. If you got to vote on that system today, how would you vote? If they told you we're going to keep funding and starting wars in strange places that no one can point to on a map, we're going to have $500 billion in fraud. We're going to continue running this debt up, and we're going to pass it off to your children, and then to their children, and to your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren. There's not going to be any justice. You have no justice. There's lying, and there's cheating, and there's fraud all over the place. But we want you to continue it because it's the American way. Oh, by the way, your kids are probably going to not be able to afford to buy a home anytime soon. We talked everyone out of living on their former parents' or family's property because that's stupid. What you should do is move far away to a strange place and start a new life. Leave the one that your parents raised you in, right? Would you vote yes on Proposition Stupid? On Proposition America? Pick me. Pick me. Oh, Mr. Chair, pick me. I'm going to vote no. I don't think that I am alone. 1,562 retailers associated with the Supplemental Nutrition Assurance Program will not be able to take SNAP transaction payments. How did they find 1,562 retailers? You know, there's a growing number of stores grocery stores that you go to these days where when you get to the checkout, it says no SNAP accepted. No SNAP cards or whatever the terminology is, no SNAP accepted. Why is that number? Why don't you want to help poor people? Would be the leftard accusation on that, wouldn't it? Hey, bro, why are you waging a war against poor people? And it's because so many retailers have either experienced the fraud directly or just see it as just a poor way to do business, and then they just choose not to do it. This has resulted in the prevention of nearly $835 million in fraudulent SNAP transactions, Stephen Vaden, Deputy Secretary of the Department of Agriculture, said. You know, we had some RFK Jr. sound bites the other day, didn't we? He testified on something, because here's another one. While we're talking, About stale headlines, this is only 2 days ago. Gatorade makes major change to its iconic recipe and move to please RFK Jr. I actually had the thought many times in drinking Gatorade over the years, what in the hell is in the phthalo blue colored one?
The Arctic blue.
The Arctic blue. And how do they make it taste like that? You know, the other one that's the original formula is the green one, right? Like the 3 Mile Island radioactive neon green one is the original one. Gatorade is officially joining a list of companies removing artificial FD&C colors from its products. In their place, the company says it will use plant-based dyes derived from fruits and vegetables, but insists the drinks will look just as bright, from electric blues to neon oranges and yellows. I want to know how you're going to make the red one, bro.
Red is easy with beets.
Red is easy?
With beets.
You make it with beets? I thought it was yellow onions. I thought it was a weird. You dyed eggs one year, trying Easter eggs, trying to make them red, and I thought it was yellow onions that made the red.
Onion peels, but that's different. Beets are normally used for like cereals and things of this nature.
Companies like General Mills, Nestle, McCormick, Tyson Foods, Sam's Club, J.M. Smucker, Hershey, and Kraft Heinz have already announced plans to ditch artificial colors. You know, they'll stop doing this to you and poisoning us if people stop buying it. Now, Brian Kay used to talk about this on Free Farm Friday all the time. If you want a healthy food supply, well, then demand it. Be willing to pay for it. Don't buy things that aren't healthy. And as RFK Jr. was saying the other day, because he was testifying, wasn't he? See if you can find the soundbite. John Kennedy asked him a question about something about the food supply, and RFK Jr., I thought the answer was pretty good. Gatorade's dissolvable powder sticks will ditch all artificial colors by this spring. Later this fall, 3 of the brand's top flavors in Gatorade Thirst Quencher and Gatorade Zero Fruit Punch, Lemon Lime, and Orange will no longer contain FD&C colors. What is Doritos going to do?
That's going to be a problem.
You know, and I used to love Doritos chips. If you look it up now, there's nothing, there is no organic material or very little organic material used to make a Dorito chip. Certainly not used to color it. So you're looking at just a little harmless little Dorito. Oh, hello, Dorito chip. That's not really food. I wonder how they get the calorie count and everything out of a Dorito chip. With an expected 2027 release, this will be Gatorade's highest. It's got electrolytes. Electrolyte. Ready-to-drink offering intended for long travel days or extreme exercise. But, you know, they don't just have Gatorade now. Now they have Gatorade Extreme, they have Gatorade IV, which we used when we were in Utah for daughter number one's wedding because the humidity was so low. It was like 13% humidity, and you come from sea level in Louisiana and 80 some odd to 90% humidity every day, and your body just gets used to it. And you don't even realize that you're in it. You realize it when you get down below 60%, 60% humidity, you will absolutely realize it. And so that's what we had to. I don't know how people live. I guess you become accustomed to it. Parent company PepsiCo landed on the reimagined Gator Light after 60 years of studying hydration. Another stale headline, demography is destiny and the left isn't reproducing. Can you find the Kennedy clip? Wait, before we move on.
He was talking about ultra-processed food.
It was ultra-processed food, right.
It's 3 minutes.
Okay, it's on the same subject.
It's 3 minutes.
Yes.
I mean, the American people are busy. They're busy earning a living.
No.
And they don't have time to sit down and research the definition of an ultra-processed food. Rather than listing all the ultra-processed foods, which of course would invite litigation and consternation and gnashing of the teeth.
Gnashing of the
How
teeth.
can you come up with a list of things that people should look for?
You can't.
On the label to know if it's ultra processed.
Can I answer
For example,
that question?
sodium. If it's got more than this amount of sodium, it's ultra processed. Does that make sense? You understand my question?
I think it's not only a question of I understand, but it's a question that my agency's put a lot of thought into. There has been no workable definition of ultra-processed food before we came in here. That's regulatory malpractice. We now
There has or hasn't?
There has not.
There hasn't.
Never.
Well, why don't you do it? With respect, why don't you do it?
We already did it. So our regulations are now, we've developed the definition within our agency. It's now, before the rule gets finalized, it's in the interagency process. There are other agencies that have equities like USDA, Department of Commerce, OMB. They have to review our proposal and then approve it. And I would say, Senator, in the meantime, people should eat real food. So,
Bobby, let me stop you because I'm going to run out of time. Look, here's the problem, and I commend you for what you've done. But the American people don't have time to sit down and read a rule or regulation by the federal government. Where I'd like to see you end up on this is not list any particular food items, but say,
technically they're not food.
Here are 10 ingredients that constitute.
I think we get enough of this.
He goes on, RFK Jr. goes on in this back and forth. He says that they're coming up with a system that'll have like a stoplight, red light and green. Red, you see red, yellow, and green. Right. So you'll know if a product has the red on it, it's ultra processed. If it has green on it, it's organic or natural.
And if it has yellow, what is it? What was it in Starman?
Go very fast.
Yellow means go very fast. Is the medical doctor still on the line? Dr. Tom, first up here today on the Mike Church Show. Red for ultra-processed food could be a good thing. But wouldn't it just be easier if you shopped for things that were recently alive or were recently attached to something that looks like a tree or a bush?
Yeah, there's two types of food, real food and non-food.
Like a Doritos chip. There's no food in it.
Yeah, I think, fast foods, they need to have signs out if you want to die young or have multiple diseases. Come right in and eat, and even Chick-fil-A. What a joke! It's not real food. It might have some meat in it, but it's probably not raised well and fried in seed oils.
Yeah, there's a new potato chip out there, Dr. Tom. It's called Maggie. Is it called Ranchers?
I think so.
I think it's called Ranchers. And you can buy a single bag, or you buy a box of 6. And they're quite expensive, but they're real russet potatoes fried in real beef tallow.
Yep, those are popping up. Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are hawking masa chips, which are super expensive, but they're real food in beef tallow with corn that I think it's heirloom corn. Hopefully it is, but they process it to where it's real food. And I've eaten them; they're good. There's a company out of Austin, Texas, Hispanic company called Siete.
Yep.
And they use avocado oil, and they have some good products.
Oh no, we get those. You can actually get those at Sam's Club.
Yeah, they're good. And so it's real food and non-food. If you want to die, eat non-food.
Well, even if you eat real food, you still will die.
Yeah, but
Just later.
You'll die a lot quicker and suffer more. And you'll get obese and be diabetic, and you'll just live a miserable life. So.
Yeah, it really just comes down to reordering the priorities in your life, and it's like I say all the time, Dr. Tom. It's an old bit from Taxi, the TV show Taxi. You remember the TV show Taxi?
I didn't really watch it a whole lot, but I remember.
Judd Hirsch was in it. Christopher Lloyd was in it. Mary Lou Henner, Danny DeVito. But there was a funny bit in Taxi where the Reverend Jim, the burnout, the 1960s LSD dope smoking burnout, wanted to become a taxi driver, so he had to go try and take the taxi driver test. And he went to go take the test, and two of the guys from the taxi crew went with him, and it was a written test. He's taking the test, and he turns around to Judd Hirsch and he goes, "Psst, what does a yellow light mean?" And Judd Hirsch goes, "Slow down." And he goes, "Okay, what does a yellow light mean?" And Judd Hirsch goes, "Slow down." And then it goes on to where it finally is, "What?" Very, very funny bit. But yes, slowing down. Slow down. All right, you called to talk about secession. What about it?
Two Americas. Yeah, I agree with John Edwards. Nowadays, there's the commie, momdami, future autonomous zones that'll be dead.
Oh, that's the Edwards you told Maggie about. Okay, Johnny Beefcake Edwards. Well, it's going to be two Americas out there. Okay, I get it. I remember.
And then real America, all the blue counties. Let's do counties. And then, I don't know. We got to be reorganized. I call for a national divorce. They can have Sodom and Gomorrah on Potomac and every
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Every Kupol city run. Now, there's good people in those cities, but they just need to leave. And I'm for it. D.C. is irredeemable. And I went to medical school there, and when I got there, I said, I need to get out of here as quick as possible. It is absolutely insane.
So you went to Howard?
No. I went to something called the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences. And F. Edward Hebert's name is on that school.
I am familiar with the F. Edward Hebert. Dr. Tom, look, I appreciate the call, and it's great food for thought. I'm going to steal that Sodom and Gomorrah on the Potomac from you. So thank you very much. We'll talk again real soon.
You're welcome. I just added a little bit to it.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Something you said. I just died in your arms tonight. I keep looking for something I can't get. Broken hearts lie all around me, and I don't see an easy way to get out of this. Diary sits by the bedside table, the curtains closed, the cat's in a cradle. Who would have thought that a boy like me could come to this? I just died in your arms tonight. It must have been something you said. I just died in your arms tonight. I
The Crusade Channel. Talk radio the way it should be. Broadcasting live from Madisonville, Louisiana, and streaming 24/7 at crusadechannel.com.
In a world more and more infiltrated with fake news, AI-generated slop, isn't it great knowing that Crusade Channel News is still researched, written, and performed by actual humans? Hey, what are you doing in here? Oh no. Get your hands off of me. You chipped my chip.
Boys, break it up. Jeez. Catch Crusade Channel News weekday mornings on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be.
No AI was harmed in the making of this radio content, but we hope to next time.
Silver and gold. In these turbulent times, buying silver and gold is such a no-brainer that even snowmen know they should do it. Now, all precious metal dealers claim to be the best, but only one can claim they are endorsed by the KingDude, and that's Miles Franklin. My friend Andy Scheckman's a regular guest on my show and a regular genius when it comes to silver and gold, and I trust him with my silver and gold purchases, and so should you. So email Miles Franklin today for your exclusive Mike Church Show discount price list. info@milesfranklin.com.
Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call. Because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at crazy low prices. They have access to great prices and discounts at over 500 different airlines. Plus 300,000 hotels and rental car companies. Their prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find the best price for you. Call SmartFares today and get ready to see the world with a fat wallet.
800-313-7757. 800-313-7757. 800-313-7757. That's 800-313-7757.
Hi, folks. It's Mike Church, founder of Founding Father Films, asking you to learn the true stories of America's founding by purchasing my movie, The Road to Independence, the movie. The Road to Independence tells the exciting story of the Founding Fathers' struggle to declare independence.
They shot first. The redcoats fired on us first. Help! Somebody! Get a doctor!
This animated movie comes complete with collector's booklets, DTS surround sound, and are packed with hours of bonus features. Learn the true stories of America's founding and order Mike Church's The Road to Independence on DVD and CD. Available now at mikechurch.com/DVD and by calling 844-527-8723.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for cappuccino holy roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Cappuccino Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mikechurch.com. The Mike Church Show, combining the best of the politics from the era of surround sound. With the 2026 revelation that when it comes to politics and scams like MAGA, we're all screwed. But like grape knee-high made with real sugar in a real glass bottle, we make throwback a go-back.
Too bad real women don't come with these, huh?
Come with 500-watt 8-channel discrete amplifiers, THX receiver sold separately.
Some of the best things on earth come in threes.
That's right, Lee. There's the Three Stooges.
And then there's the Cajun cooking trinity of onions, bell peppers, and celery.
And of course, guys, there's the Holy Trinity.
Now, I'm not comparing my Trinity to the Holy Trinity, but I guarantee you, my Trinity of homemade small batch rubs can put a heavenly smile on your taste buds. And all three come with my 100% money-back guarantee. If you don't love and think that my Trinity of beast and butt rub, chicken mamu, and Acadiana steak seasoning aren't the best and most essential spices in your arsenal, I'll buy them back from you.
It may not be holy, King Dude, but that's the best spice and rub deal on this side of heaven.
Order Mike Church's set of Trinity rubs and save big at mikechurch.com/rub. That's one bottle each of beast and butt rub, chicken mamu lemon herb seasoning, and Acadiana steak seasoning. seasoning for one low price and the King Dude's money back guarantee. Order today at mikechurch.com/rub.
Listen, were you forced into getting a solar contract and now you just don't want it anymore? Maybe the solar company misled you. Or is your solar contract buried with hidden fees? Are you not saving the amount of money you thought you would on your energy costs? Don't worry. At the Solar Exit Hotline, we can help you cancel your solar contract, even if the panels are already installed. Our experienced legal team will review your contract and help you cancel it, possibly saving you thousands of dollars. You got to call right now for complete details. So listen, if you're not happy with your solar contract for any reason, we are here to help you cancel it. Call the Solar Exit Hotline now for immediate options to help you exit your solar contract. This call is 100% free.
800-932-1789. 800-932-1789. 800-932-1789. That's 800-932-1789.
When you get home to a darkened house, you turn on the lights. When you go out into the fallen, darkened world that most of America has become, turn on the Mike Church Show.
Hey folks, Mike Church here.
And let the red, white, and Dude Nation light the way for you.
Hey, we guarantee it works a lot better than that little Levite lightning bug, Ben Shapiro.
I've sentenced boys younger than you to the gas chamber.
Hop into your guilt-free ride into MAGACon-free conservatism.
On the Mike Church Show. You want your meat like you want your talk radio, shaken.
Too many free radicals, that's your problem. Too much red meat, too many dry martinis.
Not stirred.
Then I shall cut out the white bread.
The King Dude is serving up heaping helpings of 100% USRWD, white anger red meat talk. Who's hungry?
Performing this show with 92.8% of my testosterone tied behind my back just to make it a fair fight. The Oracle of Optimism, the Sultan of Sapientia, 35 years young now, day number 4. Here at the 35-year reign of the Mike Church Show here on the Ethics and Broadcasting Network. This portion of the program brought to you by Capuchin Holy Rose Coffee. Folks, we shouldn't have any Capuchin Holy Rose Coffee left. I suspect that there are more than just 11 coffee drinkers in the Mike Church Show audience. But yet on a good week, there's only 11 people. You know, we'll round up to the old, we have 13 listeners. Remember that old joke? There's 13 people in the audience that drink coffee. Or, you know, heaven knows how many hundreds upon hundreds of you refuse to get off of the non-fair trade Maxwell House Folgers Empire swill that you guzzle down every day. You could trade that in for a bag of Capuchin Holy Roast or our Capuchin Holy Roast New Orleans blend, coffee and chicory. So easy to do. Yeah, but it's a lot more expensive. You want to support your local radio, TV guy or not? What about your local bean roaster? You know, the Folgers Empire doesn't need your money. The Maxwell Empire doesn't need your money. The Abita Roasting Company and the Mike Church Show, we need your money. So you could swear off the swill, the mass-produced garbage that you're currently drinking and pick up a bag of Capuchin Holy Roast here today. And I back it up with a full money-back guarantee, just like I do my rubs. I don't put my name on it because somebody came and asked me to do it. Put my name on it because I asked them to make it for us and for you. So pick up a bag or 16 today at shop.mikechurch.com. I'm also going to show you this guy. Look at that. It's a beaut, Clark. It's a beaut. It's hard to see with that background. This is the brand new Mike Church Show, handmade. Yeah, do it on that one. There you go. We're going to try it on this side. Handmade in Montana by the Montana Mountain Arts Pottery Company. Coffee stein. Also doubles as a beer stein. You absolutely can drink beer out of it. They're not yet for sale in the store, but they will be. But close of business today. These things are beautiful. Now, this is what we do. You know, I could do the louder with Crowder, and I could get mine from Chad for $4 a piece and charge you $100 for a membership and then pocket the $96. Instead, I choose to support my girl, Miss Kathy, at the Mountain Arts Pottery Company of Helena, Montana. And they hand make this guy for me. Look at it. It even has the Mike Church Show logo on it. Look at how beautiful. It's a beaut, Clark. It's a beaut. I choose to support them. And you know what? When I placed an order for this coffee mug, it takes 6 weeks. Right, Maggie? From the time that we agree on what the glaze pattern, one of their stock glaze pattern is going to be, and from the time I send her the artwork, and then she sends me a mock-up back, and then we pay a deposit, and they start work. It takes 6 weeks to make this guy. That's handmade. And you will never need another coffee mug for the rest of your life. And people will look at it and go like, wow, that's cool. Where'd you get that? So you can pick one up today while you're getting 16 bags of Capuchin Holy Roast and Capuchin Holy Roast New Orleans Blend Coffee and Chicory at shop.mikechurch.com. Don't forget all the rest of the great spring items. How come I'm not sold out of cooking with the KingDude cooking aprons? And again, this is not a simple, cheap apron. It's a great apron. Shoulder adjust, the waist adjust, 2 giant pockets that'll hold 2 40s of beer, thermometer, spatula, whatever you got. Shopping season, it's spring. We have our spring collection. The Mike Church Show spring collection is there at shop.mikechurch.com. And again, like I said, later on today, you can pick up one of these. We only have 40 of them. So they should go quick, and so should the coffee. Shop.mikechurch.com. How come we don't have any news today on Iran? Does anybody find this just a little bit strange? For 6 weeks now, it's been this greatest war. And by the way, we have to stop them from executing these 8 women in Iran. Are you stopping Texas from executing the next guy that's on death row? No, we saw a story the other day. There is someone in the, what state is it in, Maggie? Guy set a woman ablaze 30 years ago. He was convicted of torturing this woman, pouring lighter fluid and gasoline on her, and then literally burning her to a crisp. You know that guy is still on death row? Why do we even have death row anymore? What's the point? You can't execute someone anymore, even if they confess to the crime. You'll have the bleeding heart leftards go in there and plead with them. No, you must spare this person's life. The death penalty is inhumane. And then, of course, unfortunately, the Holy Father will weigh in and say the death penalty is inadmissible. No, it's not. But why are we meddling in the affairs of other countries carrying out their executions? And for whatever reason, I don't know anything about the women they supposedly are executing. But by the way, we don't get any news out of Iran. Don't you find it just a bit strange that the only story that we do get is one that just fits right into the Iran bad, America good narrative? So I don't buy it. Oh, let me tell you what I do buy. You know, I can't play you this video because she drops F-bombs in it. And I didn't have time to bleep it. Do you know where you could find that at? The video of the woman yesterday talking about, she's one of the, here, I have the story pulled up from Disclosed TV. We haven't talked about this. We should. Hang on. Here it is. You probably all heard about this. We started talking about this 8 weeks ago. FBI investigating deaths and disappearances of staff at secretive government laboratories. They're secretive government laboratories? I didn't know that, Igor. And I don't believe that the FBI is investigating or is going to do anything about this. Nope. The FBI is supposedly spearheading an investigation from Disclosed.tv. An investigation into possible connections linking 10 cases of missing or deceased scientists and staff who worked at sensitive nuclear and space technology laboratories. Now, the one that I saw yesterday, it was a young woman, and she says in her video that is now like gone viral. She says, if you do such and such, the FBI or the federal government, I think if you I know what it was. If you go to the U.S. Capitol on 010621 and take a selfie, the FBI will find you and then arrest you and then put you in protective custody or throw you in jail or whatever. But if you discover anti-gravity, not so much. They won't help you. So she filmed this video and she goes, I'm just leaving this in case something happens to me because people all around me are just dying. And she films this video. And in the video, she says that, and again, I can't play it for you because she uses F-bombs as commas. But she says, I look outside my window after I started getting suspicious. I look outside my window, and there is a silver Lexus parked across the street that I had never seen before. And it was suspicious to me because it was there every day. And then I started noticing, just looking at it, when I would get out of my car and get home, that there was beyond street legal tinted windows. You couldn't see inside. So then she said, so she decided with her then live-in husband or boyfriend or whoever it was, they decided we should get a license plate from it and tell the police that we think, we have a stalker or some sort or whatever. So they made the call about the license plate. She gets a message, a written message on her porch with the license plate. The one in question, it was an Arizona plate. The written message says, you want a license plate? We got plenty more where that came from. And they take the license plate off the Lexus and put it on her porch with a note. In other words, you're not going to find out who we are. Then she starts freaking out. Like, what in Hades is going on here? And then people around her start dying or being executed or being assassinated or being murdered. And so then she decides to record the video to say that I don't like guns. I'm not going to shoot myself in the head. I'm terrified of weapons. I am not a doper or a druggie. I don't have the drugs in this house that I could overdose on. She goes through several different ways that she's not going to kill herself. She winds up with a gunshot wound to the head, self-inflicted. So what in the hell is going on here? I know that the conspiracy theory is that that these people aren't actually dying, they're not real people, and it's just what do you conspiracy people? What do the Schaefer-Wrights call it? This is a misdirection here. This is it's not actually happening. They're just serving this up to you so you'll pay attention to it. Wag the dog. Look over here, look over here. While over here, they're actually actual bad guys who are doing the actual bad things. What if that's not true? Senior law enforcement officials confirmed the Bureau was leading the effort, coordinating with the Department of Energy, the Department of Defense, and state and local partners to examine the incidents that have unfolded over the last 3 years. Well, you know, we boast and brag about murdering scientists or scientists in Iran all the time. Some poor Persian gets outed or gets doxxed that he is working on Iran's nuclear program. Next thing you know, he turns up dead. Maybe this is payback. Or maybe it's the Chinese doing it. The FBI stated it is spearheading the effort. Trump, actually, you may have seen this. President Trump addressed the matter last week after a briefing. I just left a meeting on that subject. Some pretty serious stuff here, and I want all 7 swing states. Hopefully coincidence, but some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it. You have a spy agency that consumes $275 billion last year. It's called the CIA. I think it was $275 billion. You mean to tell me that for my $275 billion invested in my grandchildren that are going to have to pay it back, you can't find out who's knocking off these scientists that work in your own government, right under your own nose? You couldn't find Savannah Guthrie's mother. Does anyone else see the disconnect here? You have no idea of all the assassinations and all of the bomb and terror plots that our CIA, NSA, and other agencies prevent every year. Yeah, you know why I don't have any idea? Because most of it probably doesn't actually happen. So does anyone else wonder what they do with the $260 billion a year? Asking for a friend. Clown posse FBI Director Kash Patel announced the stepped-up role the FBI is going to be spearheading the effort. Ooh, I'm sure the perps are scared now. Collectively with our partners at the Department of Energy and the Department of War. Why does the FBI have partners at the Pentagon and at the Department of Energy? Just curious. Social media has lit up with speculation about a potential plot targeting U.S. nuclear or space programs. The cases involve personnel with ties to the Los Alamos National Laboratory. What do they do there? Nuclear research. And NASA's JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Among them is retired Air Force Major General William Neil McCaslin. Maggie, you got a list of all 10, don't you? Well, I'm not in the chat room, so maybe you can. It's 8. Well, no, I think there's 9 now. Air Force Major General William Neil McCaslin, last seen at his Albuquerque home last February. McCaslin once commanded the Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Other New Mexico disappearances include Stephen Garcia, National Nuclear Security Administration property custodian. What do you need with a property custodian? Plus, Los Alamos Administrative Assistant Melissa Casillas. We covered that one a couple of weeks ago. Former employee Anthony Chavez. In California, and this is another one that we covered, aerospace engineer Monica Jacinta Reza. This is one, remember, we did the story. She was hiking. She was hiking with friends. And one of the other women that she was hiking with was walking side by side. And then Monica basically stopped to tie her shoe or retie her hiking boot or whatever. And the woman that was walking with her turned around and looked to see where she had gone because she said, hey, I'll catch up with you. I got to retie my shoe or whatever she said. So, 30 seconds or so go on. And there's no Monica. So the woman turns around and look to see where Monica is. She's still tying her shoe or whatever, and she's gone. No trace. So she gets the hiking group to stop, and they all start looking for her. They can't find her. ultimately get the California fire department or whatever in there to look for her. They never find her. So she vanishes. There was 2 that vanished. 5 of the 10 cases ended in death, including MIT fusion expert Nuno Luriero and astrophysicist Carl Guillemar. And I believe that one of these was tied to the Brown University shooting, where that young MAGA Republican girl was also murdered, who was from Alabama. Is anyone just a little bit curious? You can find grandmas who stopped to take a selfie in the Capitol Dome on 010621 through facial recognition software, track her down, and then go to her house and arrest her, but you have no lead, no information on 9, possibly 10 now, abductions, and at least 5 murders? Are these alien abductions? Is there a flying saucer that's plucking these people, transporting them to the ether? It's a better explanation than the one they're giving, isn't it? Maggie put the chart in the chat room that shows Frank Maywald, top scientist, detecting signs of alien life, which, since they don't exist, I don't know what it is that you could possibly be detecting. Carl Guillemar, scientist working on infrared telescopes. Stephen Garcia, who has gone missing. The first 2 were dead. Garcia is missing. Casillas, as I said, is missing. Chavez, Anthony Chavez, as we said earlier, is missing. Michael David Hicks is dead. NASA research scientist. McCaslin, as we said, missing. Now, the woman down in the bottom right here, this is the one that is who is the most interesting to me of late. Amy Catherine Eskridge. She is the one that said that she said in another video, I saw it. She said that they have discovered anti-gravity. Now, I don't know what that means. Maybe someone that has a science background could tell me what it means when you discover anti-gravity. What is anti-gravity? Is this like what they use in Star Trek to make a warp engine? Because to make a warp engine, you have to have antimatter, don't you? Do we have? Is there a thing called antimatter? I don't know. But in any event, I watched the video where she says we discovered anti-gravity, and then the strange things began. So that's Amy Catherine Eskridge. She's the one that made the video and said, "I'm not going to shoot myself in the head. I am not suicidal. I do not have suicidal thoughts." Apparently she does, or did. Jason Thomas, another one dead, pharmaceutical researcher. Another dead, Nuno Luriero that we talked about. Another, I think that's the entire list. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 11 names. There's 11 now.
The bottom 3, they said bottom 3 in that graph, they say that there's no direct connection that they have discovered yet. There are simply scientists that have been found dead.
So, what is going on? That's a good question. And no one seems to have an answer. How hard could it possibly be? And now that you have, now bear in mind, folks, these people all have one thing in common. They all work for the federal government. Besides the government contractor dude, the Garcia, it would seem to me they all probably have some sort of a security clearance as well. If you can't find government employees, you got 5 of them that are missing. If you can't find government employees that have security clearances, who can you find? It just... And what do you have the national security of the NSA? What does it actually do? You know, all these things lead to the same conclusion. A completely broken system.
You want your talk radio shaken.
Do you expect me to talk?
Not stirred.
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Truth never dies on the Veritas Radio Network's Crusade.
This is a pixel.
I'm Groot.
Now, if you put a couple of million of these guys together, you can make a sentence on an LED screen. Put a couple of billion of them together, and you can make a whole page. Put 360 billion of them, and you got Chesterton's book, Orthodoxy. But it doesn't smell like a book, and it burns teeny little holes in your cornea. So is the pixel really your friend?
I'm Groot.
No, but the Founders Trading Post is your friend, and we have actual books with actual smelly pages. Plus, our little bookstore has everything you'd expect.
I'm Groot.
Yes, Groot, to the gourmet coffee, but no to the One Tree Hill sappy guitar music.
Pick up a copy of G.K. Chesterton's Orthodoxy, plus many other Chesterton titles at shop.mikechurch.com.
The Crusade Channel and the Slaves of the Immaculate Heart of Mary's Sisters present the Saint of the Day.
Hello, Crusaders. This is Sister Maria Filomena with your Saint of the Day, Saint George, who was martyred in the year 303. He is known as the Great Martyr. He was an officer in the army of Diocletian, the Roman Emperor. Because he refused to offer sacrifice to a pagan god, he was tortured and beheaded. Saint George is one of the 14 holy helpers. He protects those who invoke him against skin disease. Saint George is one of the great patrons of England. The extraordinary devotion of all Christendom to this saint is an authentic proof of how glorious his triumph and name have always been in the Church. All of his acts relate that he suffered under Diocletian at Nicomedia. According to one of the oldest accounts, he was born in Cappadocia of noble Christian parents. After the death of his father, he went with his mother into Palestine, she being a native of that country, and having there a considerable estate which fell to her son George. He was strong and robust in body, and having embraced the profession of a soldier, was made a tribune. By his courage and conduct, he was soon raised to higher stations by the Emperor Diocletian. When that prince waged war against the Christian religion, St. George laid aside the marks of his dignity, gave up his commission and posts, and complained to the emperor himself of the severities and bloody edicts. He was immediately cast into prison and tried, first by promises, and afterwards put to the question and tortured with great cruelty, but nothing could shake his constancy. The next day he was led through the city and beheaded. St. George, pray for us. Thank you for joining us for this brief summary of the life of today's saint. Tomorrow's saints are Saint Fidelis of Sigmaringen and Saint Euphrasia Pelletier. To access all of our Saint of the Day recordings as podcasts, head to crusadechannel.com/saints. You can learn more about our sisters and contribute to the building of our convent by visiting stphilomenaconvent.org. I'm Sister Maria Filomena, and until next time, God bless, and Mary keep you.
Hey, Mick. Yesterday's show wasn't enough. It's time to crack open another can of Mike Church Show whooping.
This guy just don't want to win, you know. He wants to bury you. He wants to humiliate you. He wants to prove to the whole world that it was nothing but some kind of a freak the first time out.
Hey, freaks don't hear the rocky music before they leave satellite radio.
How about a Fresca?
The Mike Church Show. Weekday mornings on the Crusade Channel. King-sized truth. From radio-sized speakers.
Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it? You? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You weep for Santiago and you curse the Marines. You have that luxury. You have the luxury of not knowing what I know. That Santiago's death, while tragic, probably saved lives. And my existence, while grotesque and incomprehensible to you, saves lives. You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. We use words like honor, code, loyalty. We use these words as the backbone of a life spent defending something. You use them as a punchline. I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man who rises and sleeps under the blanket of the very freedom that I provide and then questions the manner in which I provide it. I would rather you just said thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Blinded me with sight. How many people remember the movie Weird Science? Weird Science! Mike Church Show here, 35 years young, day number 4, now serving dude number 110. Get your Dude number today in the Dude Gear store at shop.mikechurch.com. At shop.mikechurch.com. This portion of the program brought to you by our new friends at Proselytize. Okay, I reordered the Proselytize because we sold out of 9. Sold out of 9 of the varieties or 9 of the styles. So they have been reordered. I expect them to arrive any day now. And that's great because Proselytize are great, and I love them. Here, if you're watching on YouTube, here is the St. Michael Proselytize, which I have worn several occasions here while doing the Mike Church Show. It's the official necktie of the Mike Church Show, and it's available in the Mike Church haberdashery at shop.mikechurch.com in 15 other styles and prints. Really cool, made with the finest Indian silk. And now these aren't the skinny ties that are all the rage with some of the young folks out there today. These are nice, broad, they make a nice knot, and the silk is really fine. It's beautiful. You're going to love having a proselyte. Ladies, a great gift for any man on your shopping list for a birthday. Hey, graduations are coming up. Great graduation gift for a young man or even an older one that decided to pull a Rodney Dangerfield and go back to school. Shop with us today for all of our haberdashery, including Dude number T-shirts, Mike Church Show official T-shirt, and so much more, and Cooking with the KingDude apron. But make sure that you pick up a proselyte today at shop.mikechurch.com. Tell me that I sent you. Here is an interesting little news tidbit here. Remember we talked about J.D. Vance's appearance at a TPUSA event in Georgia last week? And wondered why they booked such a large arena, a basketball arena for a professional basketball team or a large college program, and yet couldn't fill up a quarter of it. What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here? Well, obviously, Charlie Kirk is gone. But is there something else that is amiss and afoot here? And then this happens today. My name is Caroline Maddox, and I am the president of Turning Point USA at the University of Georgia. That would be in my favorite town in Georgia, Athens. Being a part of TPUSA has been a dream of mine for a very long time, and I was prepared to devote my college years to building the UGA chapter and carrying on Charlie Kirk's legacy. Turning Point USA was founded to promote truth, fight for conservative values, encourage independent thought, and defend free speech. However, it became abundantly clear to me following our event on April the 14th that TPUSA's mission and purpose have been lost along the way. It became evident to me that the organization's current direction no longer aligns with the principles upon which it was founded. I witnessed firsthand what I believe to be the organization's true direction following Charlie's passing, and I have significant concerns about its messaging and current trajectory. There's a lot of people resigning. The Secretary of the Navy, I know these two aren't related, so just let me sidebar for just a second. The Secretary of the Navy resigned yesterday. Now, this is not a big deal. The guy's a billionaire. He didn't and doesn't need the money. But he still took the job. Like Clarence Frogman Henry calling up a Rush boat back in the day. Rush, I take the job. So the guy took the job, billionaire and all. Well, why did he quit? So Hung Cao, the guy that ran for the U.S. Senate in Virginia and lost, has been promoted, I guess, to, or is acting Secretary of the Navy now. You all probably are a little bit familiar with Hung Cao. What's going on? You had Secretary of the Army resign last week, now the Secretary of the Navy. There are people that are just walking away from Trump and the MAGA movement, and now this one just walking away from TPUSA. And I suppose in the challenge that is life, people are going to quit. We've had some people resign around here on the Crusade channel and the Red, White, and Dude Nation network. So we're familiar with it. It does happen. But in high-profile cases like this, or high-profile circumstances like this, it's just some of this stuff is just weird. You know, like the missing scientist I was talking about last time. It's just weird. Maybe tonight's Thursday Night Throwdown should just be Operation Weird. You can talk about anything that's weird that you want to. Yeah, let's just do that. If Jeff Johnson will approve that, we'll do it.
Keep it what it was.
What's that?
Keep it what it was supposed to be.
Well, no, we don't have a title for tonight. Oh. Unless you know something that I don't. We're going with weird science tonight. Weird anything. So back to this story here. Now, she posted this on X herself. And I have to just time out sidebar you for just a moment. We were all overjoyed and ecstatic when Elon took over Twitter. And then he turned it into X. And then he gave us all the ability to get blue check marks, where everybody has one now. And as I have said 1,000 billion times to Sunday, just because you have a microphone does not make you a broadcaster. Just because you have an X account on a microphone does not make you a podcaster or a broadcaster. It certainly doesn't make you a broadcaster. As a matter of fact, you're not a broadcaster. You are a podcaster. Ladies and gentlemen, I fully expect that many people it's sensory overload. It's just too much. And then you start dealing with these algorithms and you see what they do to you. Like I described in the opening segment today. All I did was watch one stupid goofball video the other day on X. And my feed started turning into a stupid goofball video. Like I said, I had Chive TV on X instead of Disclosed TV and Max Blumenthal and Pepe Escobar updates. All over my feed, I had stupid people making stupid videos. And I go like, if I want to watch Chive TV, I'll turn Chive TV on. And sometimes Chive TV is good for a little, how shall we say, an escape. It's escapism, Chive TV. You don't have to invest anything in it. There's no political conclusion. It doesn't matter whether you laugh or you don't. It doesn't matter whether you like that bit or not. But it's just a steady stream of people doing stupid things, and some things are actually quite amazing, like the over-the-head basketball shot that they do from full court, and it looks like the guy actually does it. I don't know if he actually does it, but if I wanted Chive TV, I know where to find it. I would turn Chive TV on. And now all of social media now has just become, why do you have to film everything that you do? I did not need to. There's so much I see. I did not need to know what possessed you and made you think someone actually wanted to see you doing this.
Because somebody's probably paying them.
Anyway, so Caroline Maddox says, in light of all this about the TPUSA event, I am resigning from my position as president of the Turning Point USA chapter at the University of Georgia. While I am grateful for the experiences, lessons, and people this chapter has brought me, I can no longer, in good conscience, continue to represent an organization that I believe has strayed so far from its original purpose and principles. Charlie spent his life fighting for truth, and I do not believe he would stand for the blatant dishonesty now being spread by the organization that he built. His mission was never about numbers, appearances, or relevance, although he did want to be president. He showed people the beauty of just having a conversation and inspired an entire generation to make a change. His mission was never about performing, but about encouraging my generation and future generations to stand up for what is right and fight to save America. I remain committed to standing for truth and fighting for the future of our country, and I will continue to stand firmly in that mission. I know I am not alone, and I look forward to standing alongside others who value integrity. There's that word again, integrity. We've founded the Crusade Radio Guild for ethics in broadcasting. In the Latin, in the Greek, it's ethics. In the Latin, it's moral theology or moral philosophy. Integrity is a accident of ethics, or ethics is the highest in the realm of the virtues, but one of those sub-virtues or things that makes a virtue, probably the cardinal virtue of justice, would be integrity. A great conversation to have with Brother Andre and Marie someday. I know I'm not alone. Look forward to standing along others who value integrity, think for themselves, and have the courage to do what is right, even when it's not easy or popular. What is this courage you speak of, ma'am? As Charlie often said, stand for what is right, even if you stand alone. That message guides me, and I will continue to carry it with me in all that I do. Signed, Caroline Maddox, who has now checked out of TPUSA. Meanwhile, Candace Owens is reporting. I say reporting. Something about what does she say? Beyond this, the questions at the event were entirely faked. Erica, as we reported, was already in Georgia. Don't know about that, but she's saying it. She's basically saying that the event, the whole thing was staged. That the guy heckling was put there. So, again, you got to think now. What was the guy heckling J.D. Vance over? Iran. No, Gaza. Actually, it was Gaza. It was heckling him over Gaza. Why do we have this confluence of all these people who refuse to accept the reality of what their cherished Israeli government, people, and army have done in Gaza? It's a war crime. So why stage a heckler to heckle J.D. Vance, the vice president, and Andrew Colvin, who was filling in for Erica, over Gaza? Well, because Fox News will then take the real from that and then will denounce the heckler as evil because Gaza. Because nobody goes in to heckle about Gaza. Gaza is anti-Semitism. Oh, really? Is it now? So what is happening in our politics out there? I'll tell you what's happening. The American public, many people, many good people, are coming to the realization that some of what the crazy conspiracy theorists do down the street told them was true. The Alex Jones in their life.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water
that turn the freaking frogs gay. Do you understand that? Some of it was correct. Maybe it wasn't even really a conspiracy. Maybe it was just what our government decided to do. Maybe it was what bad actors, or how do we know they were bad? Maybe the government thinks they're good actors inside the federal government, the monstrosity decided to do. I talked with Joe McClain yesterday on his show on it's QOM, right? Or QCM. QOM 690 in Boston yesterday on his radio show, which is on Stations of the Cross radio network, where Father McTeague is. And Joe asked me about my church, KingDude. Do you think that the American public is suffering from, I forget how he worded the question, but that there is a growing sense of a lack of trust. We just don't trust anyone anymore. And I said, Joe, how did you get a smartphone bug inside my studio yesterday morning? Because that's exactly what Maggie O'Connell, my producer, and I talked about before the show. I just don't trust anybody anymore. He goes, well, I can't tell you how I got the intel. He was joking. What I took away from that, and what I just talking about it out loud today, and I'd love to hear all of your thoughts on this at 844-527-8723, or go into the chat room on YouTube, or the chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat. I said, Joe, you can't have a civilization if you don't have trust. You won't have a civilization. You will not have a society. You'll have an anarchy. So there has to be trust. Here's the big question. Is the erosion of trust that we're seeing all around us and so many people are feeling and are thinking or talking about, is this intentional? Is someone actually trying to orchestrate this so that people don't trust anymore? And so that there is situational chaos in the United States? And if there was situational and practical chaos across the land, what would that lead to? It might lead to a call for martial law. May lead to a call that, hey, we can't, in this situation, we can't have elections anymore. We're going to have to suspend an election. I'm throwing this out there. I'm not pronouncing upon it because, as I told Joe McClain, I don't know. I wish I did. I just don't know. And I think, and again, I started the 35th anniversary broadcast with a dedication to the Blessed Virgin Mary. And I would repeat what I said to those that are experiencing this lack of trust. We often say, ite ad Joseph, go to St. Joseph, or go to Joseph. You could equally say, ite ad Mary, go to Mary. She is, after all, sedes sapientia. That's Latin for seat of wisdom. And 100 other beautiful titles. Well, can't we just go, I'm a Bible-believing evangelical, can't I just go to Jesus? You can go to Jesus, that's fine. He's kind of busy. Running the universe and what have you here. Or you could go to his mother. Or you could try to have a conversation with your guardian angel. I think that the answer to all these things, and the thing that will deliver some calm to anyone that is experiencing this lack of trust, And there's this palpable kind of sense of disappointment. We didn't think it was going to turn out like this. And you're disappointed about it. It's to turn inward, turn to prayer, turn to the faith. We talked a lot about Free Farm Friday stuff during the Corona Doom. You know what? It got all of our minds off of the conspiracy and off of the enforcement of the New World Order that they tried to foist upon us using the pandemic, right? Got your mind off of it. Instead of fretting about it and keyboard warring on and on and on and just going down endless rabbit holes, you could just go out in your backyard and put a shovel into the ground, or learn a little bit about regenerative farming or what grew in your area, or maybe go in the open air visiting a farmer's market or whatever. But there was I think there was the escape from all that was the Corona Doom was like internal. And maybe you read a little bit more during that time. With these events that we're experiencing today, I asked earlier why there was no news today. And this is the calm before the storm. Okay, what would the storm be? Full land invasion of Iran? We still have 50,000 troops over there. I have not seen a single solitary report that C-130 transport planes are leaving the air bases that haven't been smashed and demolished by the Iranians in Saudi Arabia and heading back to the United States. Have you? I haven't seen a single solitary report. You people out there that have personal stories and knowledge of loved ones being deployed, have they been? Did they write you? Did they call you? Did they tell you? Are they on their way home? And if they're not, and there is this, how did Trump phrase it? A ceasefire. What's the word that he used? Not never ending. Permanent or whatever he was. In other words, all right, we're just going to have a ceasefire. It's just going to ongoing ceasefire. We're going to extend it for a long time. We're just going to extend it. Why would you extend it? Extending it keeps people confused. It continues the chaos. If you're going to extend a ceasefire, then what do you need troops there for? Indefinitely is what he said. Indefinitely. It's going to be, I don't like rally gains. I won the popular vote. You know that? And I did all this for you. No other president. 47 years. I'm the greatest of all time, like Muhammad Ali. Something's just rotten here. And I think something is brewing, and I wish I knew what it was. Is it a land invasion of Iran? Makes sense to me.
It's not tape or a Post-it or a candy bar, but this new 3M is
the freshest spin on true crime shows since dinosaurs were solving cold cases with fossil evidence. Yeah, it's that original, folks.
Mom's Murders and Mysteries. New episodes debut every Tuesday night, 6:30 East, 4 West, exclusively on the Crusade channel. Live talk podcast radio, the way it should be.
Hi, folks, it's Mike Church, founder of Founding Father Films, asking you to learn the true stories of America's founding by purchasing my movie, The Road to Independence, the movie. The Road to Independence tells the exciting story of the Founding Fathers' struggle to declare independence.
Richard Henry Lee rises to be recognized and begins to list what will become known as the Lee Resolutions, the actual first pronouncement of America's independence.
Resolved that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states.
This animated movie comes complete with collector's booklets, DTS surround sound, and are packed with hours of bonus features. Learn the true stories of America's founding and order Mike Church's The Road to Independence on DVD and CD. Available now at mikechurch.com/DVD. and by calling 844-527-8723.
Let's do it! You gotta beat the clock, you gotta beat the clock.
You can boogie, love disco, love that disco sound. Move on your body.
Broadcasting 50,000 kilowatts from atop the tallest radio tower on the planet. We are KRSD, the Crusade Channel, Madisonville.
Well, it's what our call letters would be if we were on FM.
Mike Church Show News. News you can trust.
Because let's face it, the truth just sounds different, like a symphony of facts.
And now, here's Janet Huxley.
Hello, Red, White, and Dude Nation. Welcome to Thursday, April 23rd, 2026. I'm Janet Huxley at the Mike Church Show News Desk, live from the ranch in Kansas City. This report is brought to you by the all-new Mike Church Show website and Dude Nation membership service. Check it out today at theallnewmikechurch.com. Here's what to listen for this hour. Senate rejects Democratic bid to end Iran conflict for the 5th time. Senate kicks off marathon vote session for budget plan to fund ICE and Border Patrol. Virginia court hands a win to Republicans. FAA to cut flights at major U.S. airport to reduce delays. And northern lights could light up across the U.S. this weekend thanks to a giant hole in the sun's atmosphere. For the 5th time, the Republican-controlled U.S. Senate voted Wednesday to reject attempts by the Democrats to end U.S. military involvement in Iran. The GOP voted down the War Powers resolution with a 51-46 vote. The resolution directed the removal of United States armed forces from hostilities within or against Iran that have not been authorized by Congress. The original bill was introduced by Democrat Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia, and yesterday's resolution was sponsored by Democrat Senator Tammy Baldwin of Wisconsin. Meanwhile, the Senate began a marathon vote session yesterday to decide on a blueprint to pass a bill to fund immigration and customs enforcement and border protection. The marathon session, called a Vote-a-Rama, consists of senators offering unlimited non-binding amendments to a budget resolution, which has instructions for committees to draft a bill to pass through a process called reconciliation. Budget resolutions unlock the reconciliation process. Not so fast. Democrats' redistricting efforts in Virginia are not quite over yet, despite a referendum to accept a new map drawn by Democrats getting approved by voters Tuesday. Republicans are cheering a circuit court victory after Virginia Circuit Court Judge Jack Hurley ruled yesterday, one day after that Democrat redistricting referendum passed, that all votes for or against the proposed redistricting amendment were unconstitutional, citing rules that impose certain requirements that the referendum did not meet. Our quote of the day: the most deadly poison of our times is indifference, and this happens although the praise of God should know no limits. Let us strive, therefore, to praise him to the greatest extent of our powers. St. Maximilian Kolbe. Coming up, a look at more headlines. You're listening to The Mike Church Show in the Red, White, and Dude Nation.
This is a pixel.
I'm Groot.
Now, if you put a couple of million of these guys together, you can make a sentence on an LED screen. Put a couple of billion of them together, and you can make a whole page. Put 360 billion of them, and you got Chesterton's book, Orthodoxy. But it doesn't smell like a book, and it burns teeny little holes in your cornea. So is the pixel really your friend?
I'm Groot.
No, but the Founders Trading Post is your friend, and we have actual books with actual smelly pages. Plus, our little bookstore has everything you'd expect.
I'm Groot.
Yes, Groot, to the gourmet coffee, but no to the One Tree Hill sappy guitar music.
Pick up a copy of G.K. Chesterton's Orthodoxy, plus many other Chesterton titles at shop.mikechurch.com.
Learn all about today's Saint of the Day at the Saint of the Day podcast at crusadechannel.com. Now a look at more lifestyle headlines. The FAA announced last Thursday it would implement a scheduling reduction at Chicago's Chicago's O'Hare International Airport, after the airlines that serve the airport plan to scale up flights despite significant levels of cancellations and delays. O'Hare, as you might know, is the busiest airport in the U.S. based on flight volume and had over 3,080 flights planned on peak days for the summer of 2026, an increase of 14.9% from peak days last summer, when just 60% of arrivals and departures were on time. The FAA's scheduling reduction will limit O'Hare's daily operations by about 300 flights daily from May 17th to October 24th of 26. If you book a ticket, we want you and your family to have the certainty that you'll fly without endless delays and cancellations, said Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, who added the FAA will follow a similar template to what it used at another one of the nation's busiest airports as it seeks to streamline O'Hare's operations. So good news if you have a layover in Chicago. Stargazers could potentially glimpse the aurora borealis in parts of the northern United States this Friday and Saturday, and that's because of a large hole that's opened up in the sun's atmosphere. The aurora may become visible over some northern and upper Midwest states from New York to Idaho, wrote the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Space Weather Prediction Center in a Facebook post. They explained that the wonderful display can be traced back to a large hole that appeared in the sun's corona, the outermost layer of its atmosphere. And you can learn more at spaceweather.com. I'm Janet Huxley for the Mike Church Show and the Red, White, and Dude Nation, because ethics in broadcasting matters.
Hey folks, these days when it comes to all things that taste good and keep us happy and well fed, more Americans than ever are looking for homegrown, small batch, made from all natural, American ingredients, cooking products and spices. Well, in 2009, me and two buddies decided if we were going to keep entering barbecue cook-off competitions, we needed our own rub. And after 5 years of trial and error, heartache and sweat, and a couple of fistfights, we finally settled upon the seasoning that you have come to know and love, my world-famous Beast and Butt Rub. And I still offer each backyard grill master and indoor range ruler my money-back guarantee. If you don't love and think that my Beast and Butt Rub is the best and most essential spice in your arsenal, I'll buy it back from you.
Wow, that's one heck of a guarantee. A guarantee that I can personally tell you the KingDude will not have to honor with me. Because not only am I a spokeswoman, I am also one of those range-ruling chefs. Get your bottle or case of 12 of Beast and Butt Rub today at mikechurch.com/rub. That's mikechurch.com/rub.
Listen, were you forced into getting a solar contract and now you just don't want it anymore? Maybe the solar company misled you. Or is your solar contract buried with hidden fees? Are you not saving the amount of money you thought you would on your energy costs? Don't worry. At the Solar Exit Hotline, we can help you cancel your solar contract, even if the panels are already installed. Our experienced legal team will review your contract and help you cancel it, possibly saving you thousands of dollars. You got to call right now for complete details. So listen, if you're not happy with your solar contract for any reason, we are here to help you cancel it. Call the Solar Exit Hotline now for immediate options to help you exit your solar contract. This call is 100% free.
800-932-1789. 800-932-1789. 800-932-1789. That's 800-932-1789.
Order! On! Parade! Parade! Rest! Men of the valley, citizen soldiers, I am here at the order of General Robert E. Lee, commanding all Virginia forces. On April 15th of this year of our Lord, 1861, Simon Cameron, the Secretary of War of the United States, sent a telegram to our governor, John Letcher, directing him to raise 3 regiments of infantry to be sent to assist in suppressing the Southern Confederacy. Governor Letcher's answer is well known to you, but perhaps not his words. His wire to Washington stated, "You have chosen to inaugurate civil war. And having done so, we will meet you in a spirit as determined as the Lincoln administration has exhibited toward the South." 2 days later, the Virginia legislature voted for secession. Just as we would not send any of our soldiers to march in other states and tyrannize other people, so will we never allow the armies of others to march into our state and tyrannize our people. Like many of you, indeed most of you, I've always been a Union man. It is not with joy or with a light heart that many of us have welcomed secession. Had our neighbors to the north practiced a less bellicose form of persuasion, perhaps this day might not have come, but that day has been thrust upon us like it was thrust upon our ancestors. The Lincoln administration required us to raise 3 regiments. Tell them we have done so.
Surprise!
100 stories high. People getting loose, y'all. They're getting down on the roof to hear. The funk was flaming.
Marcus Julius Meridius Maximus Augustus. Stone Cold Dude Austin reporting for duty today. You know, folks, I am not a chronic complainer. I'm not. I am, however, a formerly chronic defender and promoter of all things, and this goes all the way back to like 1989, of all things formerly Apple computer. And if you're wondering what just happened during that last, what we call in the business, rejoin, well, I did what I always do. I went to my handy-dandy professional DJ program, selected the soundbite that I wanted to play, the song that was going to play after Stonewall Jackson, made the little playlist, and then when Maggie gave me the breaks over, go. Hit play and got
0.0.
Because, and it happens now, I guess I'm going to have to start checking every break now. It happens with regularity now on this new iMac that I had that replaced the 2015 model. And that is now running the latest and greatest Macintosh operating system ever in the history of the world. Now running Tahoe is the OS that they're calling it. Let me tell you, Tahoe is... It is the worst operating system they have ever come up with. You can tell when the engineer nerds took over for Apple and Jonathan Ivey and the genius artists and designers were all fired. You can tell. Because nobody would make an OS this stupid as Apple has done. And I'm not the only one that is complaining about this and noticing it, because I went into a message forum this past week, because I was looking for something to see if anyone else is having this problem. Oh, yeah. Anyone that is using a Mac professionally and is working with audio or video or graphics, which was once upon a time, it was the Mac or nothing. You'd be suicidal to try and do what we do on a Windows machine. And as I've told people the last 35 years, I don't do Windows. Never have and never will. Even at work, at radio station, I'm not using that computer. But you're hard to check your email. I'm like, can't you just forward it to this address, and I'll check it on my MacBook? Tim Cook was ousted this week, or he quit, or he resigned, or whatever the case may be. It was the CEO. There is and I'm trying to find the guy because I want to make him, I'm sure he knows, but I'd love to get his commentary on it. I follow him on X, and he follows me. He's the one that had the story for us years ago that we talked about Apple and the H-1B visa people that they were hiring from India. And that he was basically given orders by someone above him, no, you're going to hire the Indians, they're cheaper, and they're smarter than us anyway. Well, he discovered that they weren't smarter than us, that they're a bunch of liars, that they're really good at spinning the yarn. Yes, thank you very much for calling. Yes, I can help you with this technical difficulty which you're having today. May I ask you to your front of the screen? Could you try to describe the status of the screen for you? I got 2 days ago, Maggie O'Connell tried to call and change the account on the Primo water delivery dude. We started, I think this is just rinsing and repeating itself, and I think that people just hate it. Well, if it's true that you just hate this, that everything must be large, that everything has to be big and out of scale, and it must continue growing exponentially. We started at the old studio in the old station in the old country on Coop Road. No, it was even before then. It was on Antibes Street, 2004. We started getting bottled water delivery from, because you can smell the chlorine in the city water. Nobody likes that. If you do, then I don't know what to tell you. From a little company in Abita Springs, Louisiana, same place where we get our coffee from these days, called the Abita Water Company. Dude would come in his little Abita Water Company truck every other week. He'd pick the bottles up. He'd bring the new ones in. If you needed a change, he'd change it. And he'd leave you a little paper bill there. And then kind of like the old paperboy rat, like from when I was a little children's, you'd pick the envelope. You put the check in the envelope. And he would, the next go around, he'd take your payment. And you didn't even have to, or you could mail it. Imagine that. The joke would be on you today. Oh, check's in the mail. You mailed a check, too. Well, then Abita Springs sold. I don't blame the companies that are doing the buying. I blame the greedy, lazy, fat slob bastards that are doing the selling. Then the company sold. And it sold to Kentwood Water Company, which was larger. So we thought we were all going to be okay, and we had Kentwood, and then we had a new delivery driver, and it changed the painting on the truck, and it came from Kentwood Water. And then about 10 years into Kentwood's reign, we learned that Kentwood, the people, and this was a family operation out of Kentwood, and there is an artesian well geyser in Kentwood. It's an aquifer. It's well identified by all the geological surveys. And the water is actually it's really good water. You can actually go to Kentwood, where they have an old-fashioned tap. You do the same thing in a beat. It's the same aquifer, and you just pump it right out and right into your bottle. It's free. A Japanese company came in and started buying water companies. Well, Kentwood was one of the ones they bought, and they bought Kentwood. And then all things then started going to crap. Then you couldn't, you had to get on electronic billing. We're going paperless, so we're not giving you a bill anymore. So then you started getting your electronic bill. You know what happens when you get an electronic bill? You usually don't see it. And then the prices started going up, and then the surcharges, and pretty soon what started as a $30 a month adventure turned out to be $220 a month, or whatever the case is. As if that's not bad enough. Then, to add more insult to more injury, the Japanese company got bought. Can you just imagine a world in which this happens? The Japanese company got bought. And then changed the name from Kentwood. So now we have no local affiliation any longer to this awful, awful company called Primo. Well, guess what Primo does, goes and does? Primo doesn't tell any of their drivers, certainly didn't tell any of us, the customers, that they were suspending. They were bringing to an end the old billing system because it didn't work with their newfangled AI-driven one. And they basically canceled all the accounts that were business accounts that they had self-identified that were in residential areas. I'm like, who the hell do you think you are? If I want to run my business out of my home, I'll run it out of my home. So they canceled our account. Now, we didn't even know about this. So we weren't going to get any. That's how short-sighted and stupid this is. We didn't even know about it until the local driver, who we've had for years now, stops one day and knocks on the door and says, did you get a notice from Primo? And we're like, no. He goes, can you go check? Maggie goes to check. She goes, yeah, I did get a notice. He goes, okay, you're not the only one. They canceled like a quarter of the man's delivery route and didn't tell anybody. He goes, what you got to do is you got to go online and you got to you got to call them, and then you got to sit through the 75 AI menus, and then finally they'll transfer you to India. And then they'll sign you up for a new account. Now, mate, this is all to get water. This is to get the company to take my money so that I can buy some water from them. Well, this was done a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. Well, lo and behold, we get another notice just the other day. Maggie goes and tries to pay the bill. Your account doesn't exist. So another round of going through the AI, an hour later, I can hear her in the other room screaming, "Operator!"
I was.
She's doing the Jim Mosier running. What do you mean, prove I'm human? So finally, she gets an operator. Hello, my name is Charles Smith. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. Welcome to the Primo Technical Support. Can I have your name and number, please? And Maggie's like, could you repeat that? I didn't get it. But my nice guy can do it. Repeat it. My name is Charles Smith. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I'm a good Irishman. Could you get your name and account number, please? So finally, she gets the account number out. I'm sorry to say, but we're going to have to disconnect the call because this account does not exist. If you would like to take a survey at the internet, no, hold on, Haji. I'm calling you because you canceled my account, you dummy. And I'm listening to this in the other room. In this room, she's in the other room. And then finally, she communicates successfully enough that, you want us to reopen the account. And she goes, well, I have to have an account number to go and pay the bill so you don't cancel me for non-payment. He has to repeat the account number 5 times. Okay, your account number is Nick and 13 B dash and she goes, I'm sorry, I didn't get it. Can you repeat it, please? And she's doing the Reverend Jim from the Taxi bit earlier. Slow down. Finally, after an hour of enduring, grueling digital agony, mercifully, the call is finally finished, and we have an account. We can pay the bill. We can get Kentwood Aquifer water again. Whew. Okay, let's cancel it. Then you know what she spent the next hour trying to do? Find a replacement. Only to discover that these bastards, and they do this, everything they touch, have left in this area this many competitors.
0.0.
They bought them all. They bought them all. And then farmed, and then you fire half the people that work there, so that works. And then you turn all of your customer service, billing, data storage, everything over to turban heads in India who stink and make horrible food. This is America 2026. We hired Trump to fix this. He's not going to fix it. We hired the MAGA representative dude to fix it, and he's not going to fix it. There has been no effort towards fixing it. Secession, sovereignty, reestablishment of the old, slowing the you-know-what down is the only way out of this. You know, let me tell you something else that we did today. Somebody said, will you please start putting your show back on Rumble so I can watch it? Okay. You know what Rumble did? Rumble went and got a bunch of nerd tech head wackos to redesign their entire back-end transmission database interface, and it doesn't work very well. Okay, finally, it took a month to figure out how to actually get the broadcast to them. YouTube is just like that, no effort. Finally get it, only to discover that if you click on go to rumble.com and don't be logged in. Don't be you, in other words. Just go to rumble.com on a separate browser that you're not logged in. Click the live tab and see what happens. Well, you're going to get some guy who no one's ever heard of, who's holding court with 5,000, 8,000, 9,000 live concurrent streams. You've never heard of this guy, but there he is on the homepage. You're going like, how in the hell did that guy get there? And then there's two other videos, one with 1,000 less than the first one, another one with 1,000 less the second one. There's three videos live on the live page. That's it. Everything else underneath is all recorded. Show more live. Click the show more live tab. Click it. You'll get one video, top left corner. Everything else on the next page is pre-recorded. Keep doing that. You will not find the Mike Church Show live on that service. Now, I want someone at Rumble to explain that to me and tell me how in the did that happen? And why did it happen? So you mean to tell me that the 35-year young, one of the most respected and known names in all of broadcasting, can't get a gig at a social media company? Something is really wrong with this world and with the way that this technology is playing out and screwing everything up. Now let me get back to Apple for a second here. Now that the engineers have taken over, the Mac OS is just, as I was saying, it's just awful. Do you know why me and Jim Mosier and so many of us, do you know why we defended and stuck with Apple all those years? Because they were the underdog. Wimblow's users used to love and boast and brag and mock us and make fun of us. Oh yeah, what's your market share? Oh, 7.5%. Yeah, but dude, I don't have to do /C:// because the Mac just worked. And if you were a professional I have a degree in commercial art, and you were using the Mac to enhance or to accentuate your service, or maybe you were using it for production, the Mac OS was just solid. It just worked. Well, you just heard the new Mac OS in real time during the last rejoin. I didn't do anything other than what I've been doing for 35 years. And certainly I didn't do anything other than what I have been doing since I started using Megaseg, that's the DJ program, in 2006. My hardware didn't really change. I got a new hardware. The operating system changed. You know what it does now? It spits out my USB connections. And goes like, oh, you use too much energy, I think, and we're going to disconnect from your USB device because we have to save the planet and go to low energy mode. You suck.
You want your talk radio shaken.
Do you expect me to talk?
Not stirred.
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Truth never dies on the Veritas Radio Networks. Crusade.
Hello, Red, White, and Dude Nation. I'm Janet Huxley at the Mike Church Show News Desk with your crucials for Thursday, April 23rd, 2026. This report is brought to you by the all-new Mike Church Show website and Dude Nation membership service. Check it out today at the all-new MikeChurch.com. In the market report, the Dow closed up 0.69%, the S&P 1.05%, NASDAQ climbed 1.64%. Today is National Talk Like Shakespeare Day. Well, you know William Shakespeare, the author of some of the world's most celebrated plays and poems. In 2016, we honored the 400th anniversary of the Bard's death, and now we're celebrating his life and art by speaking like the poet and playwright. Today, you can substitute thou, thee, and ye for you and they, and rhyming couplets and creative insults were his particular favorites, so many of the phrases we use today we owe to Shakespeare. It's also International Girls in ICT Day, National Take a Chance Day, it's National Administrative Professionals Day, and Cherry Cheesecake Day, and it's also Lost Dog Awareness Day. Our quote of the day, the most deadly poison of our times is indifference, and this happens although the praise of God should know no limits. Let us strive, therefore, to praise him to the greatest extent of our powers. Saint Maximilian Kolbe. You can learn about today's Saint of the Day in the Saint of the Day podcast at crusadechannel.com. You're listening to the Mike Church Show in the Red, White, and Dude Nation.
Hi, folks. It's Mike Church, founder of Founding Father Films, asking you to learn the true stories of America's founding by purchasing my movie, The Spirit of 76. The Spirit of 76 details the true story of the writing and ratifying of the U.S. Constitution.
And here I would make this inquiry of those worthy characters who composed a part of the late Federal Convention. Sir, give me leave to demand, what right had they to say, we the people? Who authorized them?
This animated movie comes complete with collector's booklets, DTS surround sound, and is packed with hours of bonus features. Learn the true stories of America's founding and order Mike Church's The Spirit of 76 on a 2-DVD or 3-CD set. Available now at mikechurch.com/DVD and by calling 844-527-8723.
Some of the best things on earth come in threes.
That's right, Lee. There's the Three Stooges.
And then there's the Cajun cooking trinity of onions, bell peppers, and celery.
And of course, guys, there's the Holy Trinity.
Now, I'm not comparing my Trinity to the Holy Trinity, but I guarantee you, my Trinity of homemade small batch rubs can put a heavenly smile on your taste buds. And all three come with my 100% money-back guarantee. If you don't love and think that my trinity of beast and butt rub, chicken mamu, and Acadiana steak seasoning aren't the best and most essential spices in your arsenal, I'll buy them back from you.
It may not be holy, King Dude, but that's the best spice and rub deal on this side of heaven.
Order Mike Church's set of Trinity rubs and save big at mikechurch.com/rub. That's one bottle each of beast and butt rub, chicken mamu lemon herb seasoning, and Acadiana steak seasoning for one low price and the King Dude's money back guarantee. Order today at mikechurch.com/rub.
Hey, Mrs. McGillicuddy, Don't be a satellite radio snob and pass by the Mike Church Show. Come on in and browse.
May I help you?
Oh, no thanks. Just browsing.
How long do you intend to browse?
Well, that lady there. You didn't ask her how long she intends to browse. How come you're asking us how long we intend to browse?
You don't look like browsers.
Now that that's over,
How about a Fresca?
the Mike Church Show, entertaining browsers and fans since 1992 on the Veritas Radio Networks. Crusade.
And they're not just Democrats. They know the wheel has run off. This country doesn't work.
The Democrats, they took the House, they're in control, and I could die. Payday's creeping, the tax increasing in wintertime, and in July they marry gays by the hour and lesbos by the minute. Took our wetlands and changed the speed limits. I'd like to call them something, but they charge me with crimes of hate. War is something for the strong. They fight a hurricane before the caliphate. There's only one Hillary, but I don't care.
Another vast right-wing conspiracy.
There's Democrats somewhere.
How about if we say that when the Democrats run America, every single day we're going to fight for universal health care? That's what we believe in.
This country doesn't work.
They say Bush lied and people died all afternoon and half the night. Impeachment hearings, Bush knows they'll be held to pay. Hey, they'll whack him right. We ain't caught a detainee now in over a year. Our rack redeployment's gonna start right here. If the phone's been lighting, you can tell him he can bomb away. War is something for the strong. They fight a hurricane before the caliphate. There's only one Howard Dean, but I don't care. There's Democrats somewhere.
We got the Civil Rights Act under Democrats. We got the Voting Rights Act under Democrats. We got the right to organize under Democrats.
This is as serious as it gets.
They can commit war crimes, leak secrets to the Times, and raise your taxes up before 2.
We don't know nothing.
So we gotta stop this. I can't help but wonder, what would Ronald Reagan do?
Well, the Democrats are communists.
War is something for the strong. They'd fight a hurricane before the caliphate. There's only one Hillary, but I don't care.
Ladies and gentlemen, in for the Gipper, Mr. Jim Mosier.
War is something for the strong. They fight a hurricane before the caliphate. There's only one Hillary, but I don't care.
Hell, I don't care.
He don't care. There's Democrats somewhere.
Moving forwards, using all my breath. Making love to you was never second best. I saw the world crashing all around your face. Never really knowing it was always
Mission lace.
I'll stop the world and melt with you. You've seen the difference and it's getting better all the time. There's nothing
You know, the war porn junkies on Fox News must just be daily orgy orgasms with the red meat that Trump is just continually. Remember, I just said, where's the news? Well, we just got it here. This portion of the program brought to you by the Dude Gear store at shop.mikechurch.com. Shop.mikechurch.com. You know, you're hearing the new ads. It's springtime. Check out the springtime collection. Please take a cooking with the KingDude apron off of our hands. and fill it with a couple of bottles of Beast and Butt Rub, Chicken Mamu, and Acadiana steak seasoning. Our seasonings and rubs come with a money-back guarantee, and it's barbecue season, guys. And you're in the Midwest or the North there, it's nice and cool in the evening there. You can go out. You know, the mosquitoes haven't arrived yet. The skeeters aren't a plague yet. It's just warm enough, so maybe you need a light jacket, but you can cook out now and you can enjoy it. My rubs work great in the kitchen and out. Now, here's another thing. I was talking about this earlier. There is a grand total of 13 people that buy Capuchin Holy Roast coffee and keep the coffee in business. True story. Likewise, there's the exact same amount, 13 people who buy Beast and Butt Rub. All of you use seasoning. You know, we offer these staple items so that you can get them from people you know, you love, and trust, and you can support the Red, White, and Dude Nation and the Ethics of Broadcasting Network and Mike Church Show. And it's good stuff. So can I convince another 13 of you today to give Beast and Butt Rub a try? I don't use seasoning. Well, that sounds like a personal problem, sir. And I can't solve it. But I can solve your northern Yankee ass lack of taste buds with a bottle of Beast and Butt Rub. Shop.mikechurch.com. Shop.mikechurch.com. Get you a bottle or 16 or a case today. It makes a great gift to give away, too, by the way. You know, as a matter of fact, yesterday, the guy, my UPS guy, Alvin, who is our UPS driver and has been for like 10 years now, he dropped the coffee mugs, brand new Mike Church Show official coffee mug and stuff. He dropped them off at the doorstep. And I was in here. I was doing something. I couldn't get to the door. So as soon as I was done, I ran to the door and I saw what was done. And he was getting into the truck. And I said, "Hey, man, Alvin, thanks, bro." He goes, "Mr. Mike, your garage was closed. I ought to put him in there. You want me to move him?" And I went, yeah, please, thank you." So I went and opened the garage door. And is there a point to the story, dude? Yes, there's a point. Open the garage door, and he picked both of them up. He's a little guy. And he goes, "Where you want them?" And I said, "Right here will be fine, Alvin." And he was putting them down. He was getting ready to walk out. And right where he put them was where the stash of Beast and Butt Rub was. And I had given him a bottle years ago. And he usually tells me when he's out, and I refresh his stash. So he was getting ready to walk out, and I said, "Hey, man, Alvin, I know you're out of Beast and Butt Rub, bro." And I handed him a bottle. Boy, his eyes lit up, and he gave me a high five. Then he goes, "Oh, screw it." Gave me a hug and said, "Thank you so much. I love this stuff." Now, if it's good enough for Alvin, the UPS driver, who gives hugs when I give him a bottle, why isn't it good for the thousands of you to listen to this show and won't give it a try? What do we have to do? Do I have to go to your house and follow? Here, I'll go to your house and I'll cook. We should have a contest. You know, the grand prize in the Golden Truth Ticket contest this year ought to be me doing a broadcast on a barbecue at your house. Good enough for a grand prize. I think that's great. Get you a bottle today. And try the coffee, the Capuchin Holy Roast. You're going to drink coffee anyway. You're using crappy McCormick. The McCormick Company hates you. Why are you using their seasoning? The Old Bay Company hates you. Probably owned by the Japanese. Why are you using their seasoning? Use ours. At least give it a try. Shop.mikechurch.com. Moments, and thank you very much in advance. Moments ago, I have ordered the United States Navy to shoot and kill any boat, small boats though they may be. And their naval ships, all 159 of them, were at the bottom of the sea. Riley Gaines comes in fifth. I don't like her. Joe can't remarry too early. I want all 7 swing states. But that is, they're putting mines in the waters of the Straits of Hormuz. You know something, Mr. President? You know something that wasn't happening on February the 28th, 2026? There were no mines in the water in the Strait of Hormuz. Oil was $57 a barrel. I was asking earlier, why hasn't our military been recalled? If you're going to have an indefinite ceasefire, well, then bring the troops home so they can't be shot at by some Middle Eastern lunatic. There has to be no hesitation. Additionally, our mine sweepers, I call them sweepers, are clearing the strait now. So the American people have to pay their United States Navy, probably combat pay, extra expensive fuel, and all the other things that go along with it to clear mines from a body of water that didn't have any in them on February the 28th. And they have them in there now because you launched a war against a sovereign nation that has refused to surrender and is not going to surrender. I am hereby ordering that activity to continue, but at a tripled up level. Hey, why stop at 3? Why not go for 4? Thank you for your attention to this matter. And I said this because the war porn whores on Fox, as Maggie was sending this to me, had flashed it up on the screen, and they were all there, their little green eyes all lit up, and they got smiles on, right through the spray tan. You could see the smile. During the last time out, Maggie was telling me that our friend Billy Payne from Florida was describing a situation under which his local water company took the exact same course of action that our little local water company, bottled water company, did. And now they're owned, probably by Primo, can't get customer service, count numbers are all changing, can't talk to a human being that's an American citizen. Why? All of this. But this is progress. Better try or play. We had so much better things now than we did then. Can you name me one? Look, I'll be happy with just one. Here, give me the silver lining to this. By the way, they tried to vote in the Senate yesterday to repeal Trump's usage of the War Powers Act. And the only Republican that voted for it was Rand Paul. My 2 Republican senators, stupid. Zionists. Either they're Zionists or they're just stupid. And they can't read a constitution. And people wonder why there seems to be so much chaos. People don't trust people anymore. So, while all this is going on, I was reading to you the story about Tim Cook and about Apple Computer and how Apple has just gone the way of what Microsoft used to be. In August 2025, Patrick McGee wrote a piece for Unheard. Title of the piece was Tim Cook's Rotten Apple, Complacency Can Be Deadly. And as I have said, and you all know that I'm a Mac head, they're not making Macs anymore. I mean, they look like Macs, but they're screwing up the operating system now and putting stupid things in there that professionals like me, we just don't need them. The Adobe company does the same thing. Stop improving Photoshop. It doesn't need it. And then you can't opt out of Photoshop any longer. The Adobe company won't let you. They will not sell you a license. They will only sell you a permanent, never-ending, very expensive subscription. You know what happened? A company called Affinity, Affinity. Why? You might be gathering from this that I keep up with the tech world. A little company called Affinity, a little small startup with like 4 guys who got together and go like, let's make a program that's like Photoshop and one like Illustrator that's not run and owned by evil Adobe and that you can still buy a software license to use. So I was one of the sucker dummies that went, okay, I'll give Affinity a trial, and okay, I'll buy a license. And when they first came out, it was like $49 or whatever. I didn't, as they kept updating, if you want the new versions, I didn't do the update. I just, because I had Photoshop and I was stuck with it. But Affinity was an option. Then one day I decided I'm going to Affinity. Adobe pissed me off for the last time. I have Logic now for audio. I don't need Audition. I'm going to Affinity. You know what happened when I went to the Affinity website? There was a news announcement. Guess what? We were just bought by Adobe. Guess what Adobe did? Moved Affinity to a subscription model. You see what's happening here? You know, people like in our chat room, we had a conspiracy theory show, and chatter and frequent listener JT weighed into the chat room, and she's very active in all of our message groups. And one of the things that I have seen JT and others, and Schaefer and others have written about is this: okay, they're going to herd us into this CBDC, the central bank digital currency. You know, guys, I don't think that they need to do it. I think that they pretty much already accomplished it. With the consolidation of the tech, you can't do anything without their tech now. You can't buy the competition because they keep buying them up. They basically have herded and corralled us in almost everything that we use in the tech world. What do they need the CDBC for? Apple Computer is already worth $4 trillion. That's even more money than Trump can spend this year. What do you need the CDBC for, or DC? So, can they just stop? No, they won't stop, which is why secession is the only option. To make things smaller, you're going to have to leave the big thing. And I don't know that they're going to let us leave. So, Magdalene Rose, our political affairs contributor, I have been talking a lot of politics today. The only thing I talked about, politically speaking, was TPUSA's girl at the University of Georgia in Athens resigning as a result of getting an up close and personal view of what TPUSA has become and not liking it. Did you see that?
I did, and as you know, I've been speaking with people in that orbit, and I will tell you one of the problems is that there seems to be a real gap in that. Turning Point is saying that they're sending over like systems of how to win votes, like in Virginia, for example. They're saying that they're sending them over to Laura Trump and leaders at the RNC, and they're being ignored. And there's a little bit of a mutiny going on between RNC leaders and Turning Point because they feel like Turning Point's star has fallen so far.
Gee, I wonder how that happened. And then the Magdalene Rose conspiracy theory that Charlie Kirk was running the world, and that Charlie Kirk wanted to be president, and that he had all this political power. You know, I'm going to tell you, I received yesterday, after your and my conversation, 3 personal messages from listeners who I am very good friends with. They have my cell phone number so they can send me text messages. All 3 of them, and these are not unplugged, drop out, build the moat and dumped all their tech and everything, guys. These are very well-connected, well-read, caught up on most of what we talk about, guys. You know what all 3 of them had in common after the show yesterday that they messaged me about? Guess.
Did they agree with me?
Well, they agreed with you, but they were with me. They had no knowledge that Buckley was working, Buckley Carlson, that Buckley Carlson was J.D. Vance's chief of staff. No knowledge. You were the only one in the whole room that knew it. Now, I went and looked on my X. I'm actually following Buckley Carlson. Don't remember following him, but I am. Oh, Maggie did that. So Maggie used mine. She followed him. But then I was going through the feed, and I'm going like, and the 3 people that contacted me were all pretty much the same. So wait a minute. So you become a political consultant in D.C., you start lining these clients up who are going to pay you hundreds of thousands and not millions of dollars a year. And why would they do that? What does Buckley Carlson bring to the table? Well, you become a client of mine, and I get you an interview with Dad, and you get 2 million views. And then everybody knows who you are, and you're popular, and your campaign goes in, your whatever it is that you're trying to do gets the boost. And as I said yesterday, you go look at his feed. This was illegal in the 1960s. They called it plug-ola, payola. And the record companies were the ones that got busted for doing it. And it was the state of New York that ultimately cracked down on it. And then the Federal Communications Commission said, okay, we're going to have to write a rule. And they basically outlawed plug-ola and payola. Let me give you an example. I couldn't, when I worked at 690 AM WTIX, Magdalene, I could not call the local pizza delivery company up and say, hey, man, if you deliver me a extra large double pepperoni, triple cheese with mushrooms and jalapenos, and just deliver it to me and don't charge me for it, I'll say I got it from you, and I'll nonchalantly give the phone number out. That's what's called a plug-ola, payola. So an FCC licensed radio station has to log every commercial that they broadcast. Most people probably don't know that yet. Every single one of them. And then the station also has to come in. You get a notary public come in once a month, and the notary will certify the log that the board operator has to sign, saying that, yes, these commercials ran, and this is so that there is none of this plug-ola stuff going on. So basically, it's illegal. And why did they make it illegal? Because it's immoral. It's unethical. So what little Buckley is doing is plug-ola. It just has a bigger footprint.
Mm-hmm. No, it is. It's very frustrating as a young conservative who has known these things and said these things, and people say to me all the time, you're crazy, you're jealous. No. I'm not jealous. People ask how we got in this position. Like you and I discussed how we got in the position we're in with the RNC all the time. This is how, because this stuff goes on. And then Tucker Carlson, this is why, I wish Tucker Carlson was, completely legit. I wish he was really suppressed and that he was really fighting that battle and all that stuff. That's just not the case.
That's a joke.
Because we sit here as people who can't get certain interviews because of the Steve Bannon blacklisting, and we experience that. And I know other people who are suppressed in other ways, other platforms, and we deal with it. And yet Tucker Carlson has branded himself Mr. Suppressed while his son is running comms for the sitting vice president.
And now he's gone from running comms to running cons. Yeah. So, folks, at the end of the day, what I'd like to tell you about this is maybe I should just do a fundraising drive and we'll hire Buckley. And then Buckley will get us an interview with Dad, and then we'll break through the algorithm wall, right?
Yeah, well, I tried to talk to Tucker Carlson's booker as well. I tried to speak with her, and she's like, and I got the same thing. She's like, well, Steve doesn't really like you. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I'm asking if maybe Tucker Carlson, the Tucker Carlson who says he is so honest, could have a separate thought from Steve Bannon. And she's like, yeah, I know Steve doesn't really like you. We don't really want to rock the boat. That's suppression.
Well, that is, so now you see how the media sausage is made. And you see also, there's no one, it doesn't appear that there is anyone that remains. Me and maybe Michael Savage, we're it. That remains with some connection to popular broadcasting and terrestrial radio, and is trying to do the the daily live. Let us talk to our audience. Let's bring the audience in. They can ask questions. They can make suggestions. We can explore things. Doesn't seem like there is anyone, and everyone that is at the top of the other food chain either has tens of millions of dollars behind them and bought their way to the top, or through whatever circumstance that they found themselves in, were elevated to that position and now use it to rule. And they are basically, again, they are the controllers of the gates of information. I don't think that that is healthy for America or Europe or South America or the world or humanity. And I don't think that, and no one elected Carlson and Bannon and the rest of these guys as the gatekeepers. I wonder if people knew that, and you know, when someone says, just like they accuse you, you're just jealous, no, I think I have something that I talk about that is needed in our society today. And I think we could all use a restoration of ethics in broadcasting. And I think that if there was truth in advertising amongst all these things, I think that, you know, some of the scams that are being run and the things that are happening wouldn't happen. It would be impossible for them to happen. So is there an elevator sales pitch that you can make for why this shouldn't happen? Yes, there is. I just gave it to you. There is no actual flow of information, and there is really the people that are at the top of the gate. Do you think that they ever consider the people that are the consumers of the controlled information, and that they are basically being deprived? You know, somebody told me. Mike Parrott was on yesterday. Did you know that Carlson is hosting, apparently, I don't know how you book one of these things, but apparently is doing private gathering / talks?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. Okay.
I did. Mm-hmm.
All right, well, how do you book one of those?
I tried. Well, you have to. Do you mean as the person running them or as an attendee?
Well, no, I guess it's the person that wants to host one.
Well, you go through a private booking agency. And see, this is why I get very frustrated with certain people in the Republican Party, because they're pretending that they don't talk to other people. They're called mini retreats. So he has a bunch of people over to one of his properties. He gives them a couple different meals. They sit. It's like a little getaway for the GOP insiders. And then they sit there and they laugh because they're supposed to be hating each other in public. They run them through Eventbrite, and they have registration codes, and it's all very well organized. And you know who goes to them? So Megyn Kelly goes to Tucker Carlson's one. Candace Owens goes there. Like, all these people have these meetings of the minds, and what they do impacts us, and we're never invited.
So it just makes me think, which is why I thought it was so odd that the people that run the Federalist media invited me to basically the same, what you just described. I went to one, but it wasn't run by those people. So the biggest name that was in that room was Molly Hemingway. And I had the photographic evidence. Molly can't deny that. that I met her. She actually gave me her personal business card. She said, contact me, and I'd love to do an interview over Alito. I should give it to you and see what happens. And I'd be curious to see what would happen. But they did invite me. So I've actually been to one of these things. And I would not describe what happened afterward. It didn't expand my sphere of contact or influence, and I thought it would. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's because of the personalities involved. I don't know. Maybe they just thought I was a conspiracy theorist, lunatic, or whatever the case may be, or just too filled with your Southern charm and just won't shut up. I don't know. But I can tell you that it was an internecine event, and that's fine to do that. But I think that when we meet to share ideas and to cultivate relationships, that's what should happen after that. You should share ideas and cultivate relationships. Now, I still get emails from them. So, and I'm still on the list. And maybe I'll get invited to another one. I don't know. So I'll hold out hope on that one. So I've actually been to one of these. But those people at the Federalist, if there's one source that I rely upon and go to pretty much every day, and I still do, it is the Federalist, because the people that write there are by and large they're good writers, and they seem to not be in that bubble.
Well, that's because they're grown-ups, though. Like, see, you were invited to something that has grown-ups at it to understand that maybe not everything needs to trend, and you're having real conversations. Look at the mess that CPAC was this year. It was a disgrace. There was nobody there. It was boring. They had more people from, like, Iran and Hungary there than American politicians. It was a mess. And it's because it's being run like a party. Contrast that to with what you went to, which is more like a grown-up meeting of the minds, interesting thing. That's what we are as conservatives. We are not like frat boy party animals at our events. And I think that part of the problem here is that when they started doing like drag queens at CPAC and all that stuff, and we were told it was fine, it wasn't fine. It lowered the standard of our events.
Maggie, I want you to cue up digital media file number 4, please. I want Magdalene to hear this and comment on this. Ladies and gentlemen, please take a note and note. I have the right to be angry about this. I actually have put the skins on the wall. I have the right to be angry about it. I have the right to question why my experience and why my very informed Catholic take on things is not important in what our country is going through. Well, how come Candace Owens's is? And again, I'd use the example, my shoes, El Rushbo's shoes, certain people not worthy to get on a knee and tie the shoelace. There is the dismissal of me. I had the right to be angry about it. Now, I try to be humble about it and say, well, maybe at the end of the day, Our Lady is protecting me from something. Okay, someone's made that argument to me. Okay, fine. That's fine. But there are things that need to be said about what the Trump administration is doing, hell, about what the state of Louisiana sometimes is doing, that can only be said by a reasoned, well-informed, conservative, Catholic intellectual. Okay, well, who is it? It's not and don't tell me Candace Owens, because that's the wrong answer. It's not. Now, you can find the answer if by some miracle you find the Mike Church Show or the Crusade channel. You can't find the answer. I will address it. I'll give you, and I'll do my best to give you the answer. You also may be able to find the answer, and not widely popular. Do you think that's a coincidence? Crisis Magazine, for example. Eric Sammons could probably give you pretty much the same answer I could give you, and the same informed. And I think that the point is that, and we used to talk about this all the time. The people of the United States are basically being directed, guided, and informed by people that make bumper stickers. That ought to horrify you. You should be very afraid of that.
Yeah, no, it's very bad. It's really bad. And like you mentioned Candace Owens, let me tell you something. Nobody was, like, you cannot be a young conservative who questioned Candace Owens and not have been accused of being jealous of her. I remember when Candace Owens was coming up and I was like, this is obviously a grift. Like, this is a problem. Are you all kidding me? And they're like, she's the voice of her generation. I'm thinking, Candace Owens is the voice? Are you crazy? And she would get up there and she'd say like the same 5 talking points, and I would think to myself, I'm sorry, you know who they used to say she was like? You're going to be horrified. William F. Buckley. They thought she was like Buckley. She was the next Buckley.
Oh,
and I
Lord.
used to say, really? How so? How is that possible? They'd be like, she's an intellectual like he is. She's breaking the glass ceiling. She's going to change everything. And I used to think to myself, I personally know people who've interviewed her. They have never thought anybody was so disappointing as an interview. She gives nothing, and she has no real points, but she's the future of the Republican Party.
Okay. Jerry, I'm going to get them. The fanboys are going to go in the chat room. Why does she have against Colonel Dawn? I don't have anything against her. I have nothing against her. I'm sure she's a wonderful woman, and I'm sure that Candace so-and-so that does this. And okay, fine, man. Dude, I never tell anyone what to watch or what not to watch, but I'm just telling you, and I already said what I had to say about it, but let me just tell you something. Mike Parrott told me 3 years ago, or did a show about Candace Owens and the expose on how they, capital T, killed Michael Jackson. Okay? And I barely knew who she was. The only reason that I even knew who she was because of Parrott. So my daughter, Reagan, came over. She was visiting, and we were talking about Michael Jackson, and we just watched something. I said, there's a conspiracy, or there is, not all is known about how he died, and what was going on in his life at the time. And I talked to her about it. I said my friend Mike Parrott recommends this video from this woman named Candace Owens. So we went on YouTube and found the video and hit play. Well, about 10 minutes in, my daughter asked me if we could watch something else. She goes, "This is incredibly boring." And I went, no, there's great sound bites coming up. She goes, "Dad, maybe that's great for you. I'll watch it some other time." She didn't want to watch it. Now, she was 26 at the time. So can someone explain to me then, outside of, okay, conservative, upwardly mobile, black woman, conservatives have this neurosis where they just want to be liked. And they just want to be liked for doing the right thing. So is it possible that they just went, oh, lovely, charming, black conservative voice, yes, I'm not a racist, let's all get behind her. And let's say that we listen to Candace Owens. Now, you can tell me all you want. No, she's a great Titanic talent. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to laugh. She adequate? Yes. Titanic? And I just you find yourself that if you've been doing something as long as I have, you find yourself just wondering. Back in the old days in the radio business, there were hirings and firings, and you would give, people could actually get a shot by get into broadcasting by doing this thing called becoming an intern. Jesse Waters was an intern. I'll give you an example. That guy started at the lowest rung on the ladder. He actually was an intern. So there's an example of a talent that was actually developed over time. And he is a talent. And a lot of people like Jesse. I like Jesse. I don't like the fact that he works for the Murdochs, and he is swallow, hook, line, and sinker, the Murdoch family, Zionist, one world empire line. But that doesn't mean he's not talented. I would not describe Candace Owens in the same way I would describe Jesse Waters, is my point. So, having said all that, people are probably going like, oh, really, dude? We talk about what I think is important on this show, and we tried it. And Candace is going to, speaking of Candace's, Maggie's going to play the off-delayed soundbite number 4, and we're going to talk about this for a moment.
Obviously, there's been a split in the MAGA base, exemplified by Marjorie Taylor Greene's falling out with Donald Trump. Maybe half of MAGA sticking with Donald Trump, half of them associate with Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's actually just trying to stick with the principles that we all campaigned on. So that you might think, okay, well, half of MAGA is mad at Thomas Massie, so there's some national group of people that's going to fund this guy in Kentucky who's never won a race before. He lost a race for state senate. He's going to have this groundswell of donations from at least half of MAGA. No. Not even 5% of his money is coming from that, because over 95% of his money is coming from Muriel Adelson, Paul Singer, AIPAC, and the Republican Jewish Coalition, which is, it might as well be named the Republican Israel Netanyahu cheerleading team.
The last guy left standing is Massey. I don't know if you saw this the other day. Did you see what he spent his Sunday afternoon doing? By chance on X, did you see what he did?
I did not. No.
Okay, well, let me tell you what he did. He invented this little thing called the debt clock badge. You've seen him wearing it. It's basically a little lapel pin. It's not little actually. It's about 2 inches wide, about a half inch tall, and it just has a digit on it, like an old digital clock, the way they used to look, with the black background and the red digits, for the clock, and it's turning. The number's going up. From currently $39 trillion. It's got a little tiny, and Massey's an inventor. He's an MIT grad. He was wearing it in that interview. Yeah, he was wearing it in that interview you just saw. It's got a little teeny Wi-Fi receiver in it and transmitter. So you can connect to a Wi-Fi device, and when it connects to a Wi-Fi device, there's a very simple little ROM chip that says "Go to the national debt clock," and I'm sure it's coded in there, and it gets the debt. Well, what he was doing Sundays, if you send him a $250 personal campaign contribution, he will send you a debt clock, so you can wear one, and a Thomas Massey. He had a golden Sharpie, and it's not the version of the U.S. Pocket Constitution that we sell in the Dude Gear store, but it's a similar one. It's got the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. The cover is it's monotone. It's navy blue. He signed 200 constitutions and signed the top part of the debt badges, and then took a picture of it. And he had stains all over his fingers from the golden Sharpie. It was actually kind of funny, and he had them all lined up there. And I'm like, dude is actually running his own campaign. He's raising his own money, and the people that aren't doing it, the gatekeepers who despise him, are doing the exact opposite. So I wonder what the good people of Kentucky in that district are going to do, and hopefully they will receive that knowledge. Now, this is the key point. Without Mike Churches to broadcast that, because MAGA can't stand the guy, right? All your MAGA-connected broadcasters won't do it. Who's going to broadcast? I'm just giving you an example. Who's going to broadcast a good word about what Massey just said? How's the word going to get out? I can make a video. We can take what I just did right now as a highlight reel, and you can put it on TikTok and on YouTube tonight and cut it down to a 90-second or 30-second or whatever, and you will get a couple thousand views on it. You're not going to get 1.5 million. You're not going to get 10,000, and you're not going to reach very many people in that congressional district. Now, tell me how and why that system is supposed to produce good, conservative, Christian results for the people of that district of Kentucky.
Well, it won't. And Thomas Massey is such a strange battle for Trump to pick. Like, if he was spending his days going after Marjorie Taylor Greene, she brought that on herself. That's her business. But Thomas Massey, what is he really guilty of? Holding to his own convictions? I mean, if you really boil down what Trump is mad about, he's mad that Thomas Massey didn't randomly change his own positions based off of Trump's mood of the day. And it's ridiculous. And every libertarian I know, every single one of them, rich, poor, it doesn't matter, has given money to Thomas Massey's campaign because they feel like it's their pushback. Libertarians gave Trump a lot of support. Like, they really came out for him. And he has just turned on them over and over again.
And did you know that in 2025, Digital Media File number 8, Abigail Stollenberger was asked if she would redistrict Virginia, and she said no?
Yeah.
She's on the record as saying no. Now, I think that this thing is going to... Go ahead, Maggie, you can play it. This thing is going to go down in flames. I think the courts are going to overturn this. They already have.
Short answer is no. Certainly, Virginia, by constitutional amendment, has a new redistricting effort that was put in place and first utilized after in the 2021 redistricting. Certainly, I've been watching with interest what other states are doing, but I have no plans to redistrict Virginia.
She lied. 100%. She 100% lied to get elected, plus got mail-in balloting, and then the Virginians just happened to run quite possibly the worst candidate for governor in state history, in Winsome Earls. Come on, talk about the fix being in.
Yeah, it's very bad. Abigail Spanberger is a problem. And it's frustrating because so many of us warned about her. Like, any Republican who's pretending she came out of nowhere in Virginia is just straight up lying to you. Because I remember Ben Klein and people at the RNC in Virginia, Ben Klein, the congressman, trying to warn everyone about her, and everyone was told the same thing. She's just a loud person. She's never going anywhere. And Ben Klein, begged people as a congressman to care about her. He was sounding the alarm, and nobody cared. The amount of scamming that has gone on in Virginia Republican politics is massive, and that's part of the reason this happened, because they were just pocketing money instead of putting it through any initiative.
And where you wouldn't have, as I said, so I'm just going to say, I'm going to find an excuse to say it every day now. Where you wouldn't have this kind of cheating and lying and heavy-handed foreign influence. And look, you can call Talmudic Judaism whatever you want. You want to call it a religion, fine. You want to call it a cult, whatever you want to call it. This kind of cult influence, you would not have this in Catholic confessional states. And I think, again, I'm going to get David Wimhoff back on this show. I told him I was going to do it a couple of years ago when we talked, and I had him on for an hour, which was not long enough. I'm going to get him back on because we need to talk about this. This whole thing is spiraling completely and totally out of control. Trump was supposed to fix this stuff. We were supposed to have less of this kind of intrigue. We were supposed to have no new... You all know the drill. Well, none of it seems to be coming to fruition. And I think that for the few people that are left on the bandwagon, if you're on the bandwagon... Joe McClain yesterday on the radio show that I was on with him, Joe calls him, what does he go? Trump idolatry syndrome. Instead of derangement, it's Trump idolatry syndrome. I'm like, that's a good one. And I think that that's out there. But the rest of the so-called base, every day that goes by, and there's not a resolution to this, and they don't get the things that they think that they voted for, it gets worse. And people lose more trust and get more aggravated and more frustrated. And again, this is not the way it was supposed to turn out. And by the way, other than him out there pimping for robot world, where in the hell did Elon go?
Well, it's a really bad day as a Trump supporter. He reclassified marijuana. He's pulling back the amount of deportations, and they leaked to NBC News that they're no longer entering houses without warrants. I mean, that's what's going on here. He is moving the needle to the moderate neocon side. And this is the problem with neocons. It's not just that they're warmonger lunatics. It's that the second one of them gets in there, all of a sudden it's like, well, Mr. President, why do we need more deportations? Why do we need marijuana to be a class 1 drug? Why do we need those things? They'll like you more if you have more leniency. Today is a real day of betrayal, I think, for the MAGA base.
They need the marijuana and the 702 spying so they can kick our doors down. So that when the opposition remains, as Mike Parrott said yesterday, we may have seen the last federal election, especially if the Democrats continue doing what they're doing and the stupid party gives them 702 spying. You're going to rue the day. I'm going to rue the day. Well, wait a minute. We've talked enough about this subject. I want to pivot to your favorite subject, Magdalene. Here you go.
Do we know all we need to know about the murder of Charlie Kirk in Utah in September of 2025?
I don't think we do. I think there's still a lot more that needs to be uncovered. The trial is ongoing right now, so I'm hoping that some more of these gaps are filled in the trial. We'll see. I am skeptical that those gaps will be filled. There was obviously people who had pre-knowledge that were posting online about Charlie Kirk being killed. I know from a foreign ties aspect, that was our job at the National Counterterrorism Center, was to look into the foreign ties. There was a lot more leads that we needed to run down. Now, I can't definitively say this country, this person, et cetera, likely had something to do with Charlie Kirk. I just know there was a lot more work that we had to do before the FBI said, hey, there's nothing more to see here.
Did the FBI block you from investigating the Kirk assassination, just as they blocked you from investigating the attempted assassination of President Trump?
Yes. There was a lot more work we needed to do on determining foreign ties and foreign nexus, and the FBI told us to stop. That they had primacy, and then according to them, they handed everything over to Utah State, and so we'll see what comes out in the actual trial of Tyler Robinson. But from where I was, we still had a lot more work to do.
Do you think Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk?
I think we're going to see. According to the FBI and according to the Utah State authorities, they say they have a rock solid case. So far, I've seen what everybody else has, that there's a gun with his fingerprints on it. So I'll let that trial play out.
Smart move.
Yeah.
This is an abomination. Trump has handed the keys to the FBI to a circus clown. A circus clown. And everyone is watching the circus clown do his act. And he's juggling the 3 bowling pins in real time here. There is a very good chance, J. Arthur Bloom said it on this show 5 months ago, or 4 months ago, which we're in April now, so about 4 months, the first show that we did in January, J. Arthur Bloom, Arthur Rihanna said it, there is a very good chance Tyler Robinson walks out of that courtroom a free man. And the FBI will be responsible for not having convicted anyone, and Charlie's killer will never be found.
Yeah, no, that could happen. It's extremely frustrating. Trump's approval rating today has fallen in terms of the economy to the lowest it ever has been. And I will say, I think that Trump is in a very bad place. I think somebody has got to explain to him that everything he's been told is a lie. And if you look at the people who run the FBI, it feeds into this. This mentality they have of being like Fox News celebrities, and I was talking to someone about this recently. He said to me, "How is it that people are so stupid in politics now?" It's because they're all failed theater kids. They're all people who would take a regular spot on a CBS crime drama in a heartbeat if it was offered to them. Like, if the left really wanted to gut the Republican Party, they should just offer them a couple walk-on roles in movies in Hollywood, because they would all take them. They would. That's what they care about. But if you actually care about politics, if you love the game of it, if it's your interest, they get angry at you because you're not in their failed theater kid club.
Their failed theater kid club. Hey, Cash! Hey, Cash Patel! Look, they're rebooting the TV show. It's called The FBI, and they're looking for a guy to play an agent. You want to roll? Yeah. Hey, Trump, I quit. That is a very good description of, I had never heard that before, failed theater kids.
Well, you know why I know this? Because I was a debate team kid, and I knew the mock trial kids, and they were very different from the theater kids in high school. They were studious, they cared, there was a level of seriousness. They weren't trying to be Kim Kardashian, but the theater kids have this little bit of desperation that runs through them, and I see that in our national politics, and that's why I know this to be true. So frustrating.
And while this is going on, you mentioned that somebody needs to tell Trump the truth. How is that going? Who's going to penetrate the circle? Again, this is literally, that White House is circle the wagon mentality. If you look up a picture of circle the wagon mentality in the Webster's dictionary, you're going to get, Maggie? You're going to get digital media file number 1, 2, or 3. You pick it.
I don't care.
Do number. All right, do number 2.
Wait, which is the one where she says y'all should just trust us?
Does she actually say that? It wasn't yet. It's got to be either 1 or 2.
You guys all see a lot of different messaging coming out of Iran, a lot of different rhetoric and language from them. I would caution you to take anything that they say at face value. What we've seen is that what they say publicly is much different than what they concede to the United States and our negotiating team privately. I've said that repeatedly to all of you in the news media, and you should take our word for it.
You should take our word for it. I don't take your word for it. And by the way, what you say, you change and don't live up to, ma'am. But isn't it amazing, Magdalene? There is no news. There is not a news outlet that is reporting on what is actually going on inside of Iran or in Tehran. We don't get the Tehran Daily Gazette, right? But somehow the news gets out. Ooh, they're going to execute these and they just happen to be all young, beautiful Persian women, and they're going to execute. And Trump slides into the rescue and says, "Oh, I saved today. They're not going to execute him. I didn't like Riley Gaines. She's too blonde and comes in fit. But these dames are brunettes. They're beautiful Persians, and I saved them. I won all 7 swing states, and I saved them. These are butchers. These are bloodthirsty killers." And by the way, the PSYOP, you know how you know it's a PSYOP? Because they use keywords. You know what the keyword is on this PSYOP now? You know what it is? Bloodthirsty. Mark my words. Listen to Caroline Leavitt. Listen to Marco Rubio. Listen to anyone that's in that circle that's defending the little big Trump. Little big Trump. That's defending little big Trump. What is the buzzword? The word that they use is bloodthirsty. Sean Hannity uses it every night, 30 times. And then this bloodthirsty nation, bloodthirsty. Well, they're bloodthirsty. They're not the ones that are blowing schools up with children in them. They're not the ones that are boasting and bragging about the bloodthirsty lust to blow up bridges where civilian traffic crosses it, and electrical generating plants that people rely on for this stuff called electricity. That's how you know. When they start using the repetitive word, well, first of all, they've lost the narrative. So now they're just to the talking point. And now the talking point, as Caroline Leavitt just said, just trust us. Should we have trusted it's only going to last 3 or 4 weeks. They're going to take over the government in a day or so anyway. The people of Iran, the great people of Iran, are going to take over the government in a day or so. It's not going to, 3 or 4 weeks maybe. I don't know. We'll see. His thing is now, I'm going to make a pronouncement. It's going to be 3 or 4 weeks now. It's going to be 7 weeks. And I'm going to vaporize their civilization. And then he ends it with, we'll see. So you make a pronouncement. People, the MAGA bots, the Trump idolatry or Trump adoration syndrome, pick up on the definitive statement, okay? And then ignore the we'll see. The we'll see is the real teller, Magdalene, and audience. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. That's why he says we'll see. Because he doesn't know. Why am I the only one that can figure this out? And I'm sure there are others that have figured it out.
No, but that's true. He has no idea. And this is the reality of where we're at. He has no idea why he's in this war. He has no idea how this war is going. He has no idea what the long-term fallout will be. He doesn't know anything. That's just the reality here. And when we talk about, what's happening in the White House is a mess. The White House has betrayed every major core campaign policy, except for they haven't reopened the border. But I was at a talk by Numbers USA that does the discussion about immigration and everything. I think it was like 2019. And I remember during that talk they were laying out then the immigration standard, and this is before the Biden surge over 4 years, of what it takes for a nation to change over just on demographics. And it was horrifying. And that was before the 4 years of the Biden surge. And I remember that talk because during 2024, people were like, well, why should I vote for Trump? He's going to betray us, and all the things he ended up doing. And I remember saying, because if we don't get rid of these illegals in this country, in 2 generations, the country will be gone. It'll be a third world nation. And that is what is happening here. So when he pulls back deportations, I remember that talk and the fact that we're only a generation or so away from total wipeout of this country.
Well, the whole thing, again, as we say, is disappointing. But again, look, there is a silver lining, and the silver lining is those conversions to the faith are real. I'd imagine that they're still happening, and I would also imagine that the more unstable and unreassuring the federal government gets under the chosen leader, we chose him. I voted for him 3 times. By the way, Brother Andre Marie admitted in an interview that he voted for him all 3 times. The higher the disappointment, as you said, the approval rating is dropping by the day. It's dropping by the day. And that's because you have abandoned what it is that you said that you were going to do. I just think that the escape hatch is spiritual. That's the escape hatch. And it wouldn't be the first time that people have retreated to the faith. And even if it's only to provide what the French say calme, it's calm with an E, and just means kind of like tranquility, calme. Even if it's just to provide calm, at this juncture in time, I think most people would take it. And then another thing, imagine if you are the parent or the aunt or the grandparent or the wife or the husband of someone who's deployed over there. And you watch this madman every day. It can't give you an answer of what your son or your daughter is going to get thrown into. I mean, can you imagine the anxiety they must feel now?
No, it's horrible. And military spouses have been speaking out on that, which is its own issue. You know, some people don't like that. But I think it's interesting that across the board, everyone knows this war is completely unlikable. Everyone knows they don't approve of it. Everyone knows it's hurting our economy. And yet Trump will die on this hill. And I don't understand it. I mean, from a business perspective, it's ridiculous. If you know one business thing you're doing that's completely unnecessary is destroying your company and destroying your support bank and all of this, and you're losing your line of credit, so to speak, you don't continue doing it. And yet he is defending it. He's having Hegseth fire people who don't go along with it. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, you've lost a Secretary of the Army and a Secretary of the Navy. The only ones left is, I guess, the Secretary of the Air Force. And of course, no, we're not. They're not retiring, or they're not quitting. They're not being fired or whatever because of insubordination, or they disagree with them. No, they're going back to being billionaires and this and that. Well, why'd they take the gig in the first place? It's great that the guy for the Navy dude is going back to being rich. Okay, fine, I get that. Why did he take the gig in the first place? Because somebody convinced him that it was the honorable, good thing to do. Well, then if that's the case, obviously continuing is not the good and honorable thing to do. Right?
Yeah.
Where is that voice to say that out there? Well, it's on the Mike Church show. Oh, but we're not allowed to say it. All right, Magdalene. We'll see you tomorrow for Free Phone Friday. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. To the point about retreating to the faith, one quick little anecdote story, and I'll just tell it to you. You can actually, you know what? I will go find this for you because I separated it out, and it's on CrusadeChannel.com. James Bascom with the TFP told this story at an event that I went to, and I was so blown away by it that I told it myself. I told the radio audience. I want you all to think, from the religious point of view, I want all of you to think about the story of the people of France during World War II in 1943 and Our Lady of Boulogne. She's not very popular. You won't find a great devotion to her outside of the city of Boulogne. But if you look it up, and it was the devotion that started was called Our Lady Le Grand Weekday de Boulogne. Our Lady of the Grand Return. It's retour in French. Le Mademoiselle de Grand Retour du Boulogne. Our Lady of the Grand Return, or Grand Retour, in France. And what happened is it was Nazi-occupied France at the time. The Allies were trying to drive them out. And a priest in the city of Boulogne said, you know what we need? Pilgrimages. The people need the faith. They need to trust in Our Lady that they're going to survive. So you know what he did? He organized pilgrimages, and they took the statue of Our Lady of Boulogne out of the church in the town square in Boulogne, and they paraded her around the entire diocese. It was like 100 miles. And there are pictures of them, because people like in pictures of, and young men, they would take turns, of 6 young men at a time carrying that bier, and thousands of people. You could see a mile behind them of Our Lady being processed through that area of France to every church. They stopped in every church in the diocese or in the parish carrying Our Lady of Boulogne and the Our Lady of the Grand Retour. I did an entire monologue on it. I will find it and I will publish it today for all you Founders Pass members so you can find it easy to find and can listen to it, because I think it's worth listening to. It's worth going to the TFP site and finding James Bascom's article that he wrote for the TFP magazine about Our Lady of the Grand Return, of the Grand Retour. I will leave you with that. And if news breaks out today, we'll break in. Consider shopping in the store. Consider telling a friend to become a Dude Nation Medal member. One thing Steve Bannon and Tucker Carlson and the rest of them can't do is stop you from talking about the Mike Church Show. I wish there was such a quick and easy, surefire way for you guys to give gift memberships, and you can give them, but it just seems to always end with technical frustration. So I would just encourage you instead to send them to podcast.mikechurch.com. There are literally 2 years worth of free preview material they could listen to sample the show. They'll never run out, including today's free preview. But you could send them to mikechurch.com/join. And I want to thank all of you for your donations and your kindness and your love and your prayers. Thank you for that. If news breaks out today, we will break in. See you tomorrow for Free Phone Friday. In the meantime, shop in the store, shop.mikechurch.com. Join, upgrade your membership. Very soon, I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to tell you, please, I need all of you to go log into your crusadechannel.com accounts and become, log in and then go to crusadechannel.com/join, pick a medal level and just add it just click purchase. The cart will prorate you, and then you'll be converted to a new Dude Nation member. You need to do this. As I said, it will become a necessity very soon. But please, voluntarily do it now. Maybe you upgrade, and maybe you get the video and the new transcript service that we have. So think about doing that today. And if news breaks out today, heaven forfend, because I fear it would be awful, we will break in. If not, see you tomorrow for Free Phone Friday. God bless you. Mary keep you. Our Lady of Boulogne, pray for us. St. George, pray for us.
Never hide. He's a friend of Mr. Madison as he fights all left is